Hi everyone, welcome to Left Undone, Incomplete Investigations. I'm Kathy. Let me turn off the music that didn't play with the other thing for some reason. I don't know. I need a backstage music producing person or something here. So welcome to Left Undone. Good to see you all. Let me see who's in here. My name is Kathy. I am Kathy, registered nurse, mother of 4, grandmother of 2, and I've had this channel for about 6 years. If you're new here, I just work full time, so I can't stream very often, but I'm on a leave from work currently, so it works out really nice because I take care of my mother with dementia, and we don't have a full-time caregiver, and can't really be left alone anymore. So that's my story. Let's see who's here. Hi, Ruby, and it looks like we got a new member. Thank you for becoming a member. That is so nice of you. We appreciate it. We have a really good community. The cat's going to act a little crazy right now, so if the camera falls or anything, he has to be in the middle when I get started, and as soon as I'm talking to somebody, he thinks he's in charge. He thinks he's the producer of this. So, yeah, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully he'll get bored and lay down. Hey, Journey. Let me see. Okay, let me scroll back just for a second because I want to say hi. Hi, Nightbee. You heard the court audio, and yes, so somebody else already played it. I think it's about 70 minutes long. So we will skip that part and go to the documents that have been redacted that I have permission to share with you. Hello, Idaho Chick. And then wanted to let you know you have a new sub. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing the right thing and telling the truth. These bullies never expect to get found out, and when they do, it's a shock of their life. Yes, I think it has been, and I hate to say it really because it's sad, it's been a long time coming. There's a lot of stories coming up now. Lori Hellis told her story, and Lori Hellis is a honest person from everything I've been able to tell about her. Gigi has now made some posts. She said she didn't really plan to do this. Get down. But you know what it is? It's my tea bag. He wants my tea bag because it's floating in the tea. He's going to burn himself. It's easy. I got tea this time in case I start coughing. Let me put the tea bag somewhere so he doesn't try to dive into the tea. Anyway. So it's really sad because people, and you know there's more, unfortunately. I mean, I already told my stuff, and people, the gems come in and say stuff to me like, oh, too bad for you or something. I don't know. I don't want to get into all that stuff. I don't want it to be that much drama because I really, really, really want everyone to understand the importance of this whole thing. The biggest thing to drive home here is stalking is a very, very serious charge. And if you're trying to squash someone's freedom of speech, that is completely unacceptable. And I think that's where the bottom line lies in this entire thing. Like, this is not about getting mad and trying to silence somebody that used to be your friend. You have to understand that people have rights. And somebody had posted like, oh, freedom of speech is just about the speaking out against the government. That is not true. That is not true. It is not true. It's the right to speak, period. You can't tell lies about people. You can't defame people, but that's a whole nother thing. That's a civil thing. That's not a crime, right? So we will just understand that. You heard the court audio too. And yes, we do have a Discord. Yes, we do. If you guys want to join, we talk about everything. It's very casual. It gets moments where it's pretty quiet, you know, when everybody's busy doing their day jobs and stuff. But it's there, and you can always read what people have posted in there. A lot of times, new cases are brought to my attention in there, so that's the best way to communicate too. Because I'm usually in there at least every day, more than on YouTube. Apparently, she was in bed with more than the film crew, allegedly. Holly. You're on your new tablet. On your tablet. Oh, I thought you're some new tablet. Okay. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. IPLM, where are you? Oh, there you are. Hi. Good afternoon. Thank you. Okay, so don't want to waste your time. Let me just pull up the first document and I will show it to you. I don't know if I'll keep it on the screen the whole time. It is redacted. There's an order to these, so I'm going to do them in the order that was asked of me to do them in. Hi, Carrie. Okay. Oh, you guys are very chatty. I'm never going to keep up. Oh, thank you for becoming a new sub. Thank you. Gosh, you know what's really funny? When I first started, about 50 or so people unsubscribed, but more than that have subscribed since I started talking about this. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I am trying to just be the voice of right and show the difference between right and wrong, right? And I know a lot of people have blindly decided that Lauren was stalked, that those videos are terrible. Yeah, they were kind of mean sometimes, but they're not stalking. And that's a point we have to understand. We cannot stop someone's freedom of speech. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you. Nice to have you here. Appreciate it. All right, let's see. Where? Oh, I did. I uploaded those. I guess they're not here. I got to do them again. Okay, let me get image or number one. There we go. I got it. Okay, so this is the first one, and I am going to have to make things smaller here so that I can read, because, of course. So as you can see, this is a legitimate document, and we're going to go ahead and read it. I don't know if I'm going to keep it up the whole time, because I want to be able to see you guys and it, and I'm not using multiple screens right now. Okay. So let's just start. I'm not sharing my screen. I'm sharing the documents, and they're uploaded, which might have been a bad idea because I can't scroll. You guys, hold on. Okay, well, let's just do it this way. As you can see, there's the judge's name. There's the case number at the top. And this is Christina's response. Okay, respondent Christina, through counsel, hereby files this memorandum opposition to the request for civil stalking injunction and in anticipation of the evidentiary hearing set for September 22nd, 2025. So this is, Christina had to file this. The court should deny relief requested and supporting grounds. The court should deny the requested injunction. Petitioner Lauren Matthias is a public figure with hundreds of thousands of subscribers and followers on YouTube and a variety of other platforms. Matthias uses these platforms to speak out on a range of issues, including current events, legal news, true crime, and culture. But Matthias also has a history of using various means to deprive others of the very same rights she exercises. Several of the individuals have been the subject of cease and desist letters or false police reports. The requested injunction is simply Matthias's latest device to shut down speech with which she disagrees. The requested injunction lacks merit under Utah's civil stalking statute, the stalking statute, Utah Code 78B-7-701. Blank has not spoken with, see, they use people's last names, so that's what's redacted here. So I'll just say, Christina has not spoken with or otherwise communicated with Matthias, directly or indirectly, since April of 2025, when she responded to a string of text messages from Matthias. Christina has not initiated any communication with Matthias since 2025, before their friendship fell out. Matthias bases the requested injunction on a tangled web of allegations regarding Matthias's own conduct and the conduct of Matthias's other former friends and acquaintances. Matthias provides no evidence that Christina has ever asked or induced anyone to contact Matthias for any reason, let alone to threaten her. Matthias states that she has subjectively felt fear and emotional distress, but cannot point to any threat or statement that would cause such a reaction in a reasonable person in Matthias's circumstance. Further, the requested injunction is unconstitutional. The imposition or enforcement of the requested injunction, or otherwise known as temporary restraining order or temporary order, that issued on September 5th would violate Christina's rights under the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution and the Utah Constitution. Recent Utah case laws make clear that contact-barred restrictions on speech, even in the civil stalking context, must withstand strict scrutiny. The proposed speech restrictions in the requested injunction fall short. Similarly, nothing in the requested injunction or supporting materials establishes that Christina acted with requisite degree of culpability under the recent U.S. Supreme Court case law. Now, hold on. I'm going to pop back over to you guys for a second here. And let me remove this so that it gets a little bit clearer, because I want to be able to see and talk. Let's see. Anything I need to? Let's see. The therapist mine. I'm a therapist, and anyone who spends that much time on TikTok about drama with someone else needs to get a life, move on, and get therapy. I mean, maybe. But the point is, it's her First Amendment right. She's allowed to do that. No matter if she needs therapy or not, she's allowed to do that, right? My daughter's also a therapist. She's a marriage family counselor, therapist. She has her master's in psychology and marriage family therapy. All right. Let me get back to the document. I'm going to get wrapped up in the comments, and I don't want to do that. For these reasons, Christina respectfully requests that the court deny the requested injunction. Facts. Matthias relies primarily on 3 declarations in support of the requested injunction. 2 declarations from Matthias, the Matthias declarations, and a declaration from Grayson, I don't know, whatever she is, assistant, producer, whatever. This opposition relies upon and incorporates by reference the following declarations filed concurrently herewith, along with documents and things blank Christina expects to introduce in her defense at the hearing. 1, declaration of Christina. 2, declaration of someone else. 3, declaration of someone else. And 4, declaration of someone else. And 5, declaration of someone else. And for the sake of brevity, blank does not restate facts from each of the foregoing declarations, instead provides a summary of the key facts as follows. So, hashtag free Grayson. I think it's hilarious, to be honest. And the funniest one I saw the other day was the hashtag free Dr. John. I mean, you got to kind of make fun of the thing a little bit, right? Free Grayson, free Dr. John. I don't know, maybe free Lauren. Let her get back to her real world and take care of her kid and not be so stressed out about something so not big in this world. Seriously, there's a lot bigger problems in this world. One that jumps out right away is that Christina was not the only person who Lauren LM filed allegedly bogus restraining orders and filing false police reports. And there's more. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we're going to get to some of that stuff today. So the key facts as follows. Matthias is a public figure with hundreds of thousands of subscribers on YouTube and tens of thousands of followers across various social media platforms. 2, Christina met Matthias in April of 2024 and maintained a friendship for several months thereafter. Now, I pointed this out because if you did watch the 9-hour cry fest, drama, whatever you want to call it, the 9 hours of Lauren. If you did watch that, she's very, very, very vocal in that about 6 years worth of text messages going back 6 years. Christina's only known her for a year at this point. So I just highly suspect that someone has something from way back that she's very afraid of. And it has been brought up by her that this is about some victims, possibly. Allegedly, she said something bad about victims in text messages that somebody has. And clearly, it's going to make her look really bad as a true crime journalist that speaks out that she is there for victims. It's just a bad look. Oh, hey, Michelle. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Really appreciate that. Have not seen you in a while. Oh, Mama Bear, thank you for becoming a new sub. I appreciate that. Hi, Justine. All right, I will continue. All right. By March of 2025, the friendship had waned, and Christina did not initiate any contact with Matthias after that time. In April of 2025, Christina spoke to Matthias about some of her public statements and conduct, which prompted Matthias to make a variety of accusations against and demands to Christina. 5. Christina has not communicated directly or indirectly with Matthias since April 2025. 6. Around the same time, Matthias launched a series of accusations and demands against her other former friends and acquaintances, including 1, 2, 3. There's 3 redacted people's names there. Matthias also began behaving strangely towards blank and her friends, including without limitation, and there's another 1, 2, and 3, 4, by approaching them or standing near them in public places with the apparent intent to provoke confrontation. 8. Matthias sent blank and other individuals a cease and desist letter and contacted the police to report that blank and others were following or surveilling Matthias and her employee, Grayson. Blank, when in fact it was Matthias and I guess that's Grayson's last name, that were following them. 9. Blank was not present for encounters. Christina was not present for encounters between Matthias, blank, and others in June and July of 2025. There's a lot of C declarations, like there's a lot of C this, C that. So there's some other, points that are made here, but I'm not going back and forth between them. We'll just read them in order. At no time did Christina encourage or suggest that 1, 2, 3 people or any other person contact or approach Matthias. Christina's social media posts and public comments since April of 2025 have not been directed at Matthias and were not intended to communicate with Matthias directly or indirectly. Rather, Christina was addressing her social media followers about topics of public interest in the true crime community, including Matthias's statements and conduct. Matthias has maintained her social media presence and continues to engage in public discussion by posting or streaming hundreds of videos since April of 2025. Matthias has used Christina's, it's redacted, so I go blank. I call her blank. I'm going to call Christina because we know this is her statement. Matthias has used Christina's public statements as a pretext for quashing her speech and removing her from public events such as CrimeCon, which took place September 5th through 7th, 2025 in Denver, Colorado. Matthias has misinterpreted the events at CrimeCon. Matthias has misrepresented the events at CrimeCon in an attempt to secure the requested injunction and accused Christina of violating the temporary order. Let me see, come back to you guys real quick. Oh, thank you. Hold on. I got another new member. Thank you very much. The boss lady. Thanks for becoming a member. Much appreciated. All right. Okay, back, Kathy. One thing, if you haven't been here long, I think the whole point of live streams is to interact with the chat. So sometimes I get a little bit like hyper focused on the chat because you guys are here to interact and I want to be in the conversation going on there too, because that's what we're talking about. Okay, argument. Stalking consists of two elements. One, the respondent must intentionally or knowingly engage in a course of conduct directed at the petitioner. And two, the respondent must know or act with recklessness regarding the course of conduct would cause a reasonable person to fear for the person's own safety or suffer other emotional distress. Then it's like Ragsdale versus Fischler. There's quotes of just these other cases that they're quoting from. See also Counterman versus Colorado. Emotional distress is defined as significant mental or psychological suffering. Ragsdale 2, 2025 Utah. That again, quoting another case that was decided or brought before a court. Both elements must be present before a district court may issue a civil stalking injunction. Here, Matthias cannot prove either element to justify her requested injunction. Further, the Utah Court of Appeals recently reiterated that the First Amendment cabins the court's ability to issue a civil stalking injunction to only specific parameters. Counterman is instructive to the instance case for many reasons. Foremost, it prompted a change in the stalking statute definition of stalking, such that a petitioner must show at least recklessness with respect to the efforts of the course of conduct. Restrictions are presumably unconstitutional and subject to strict scrutiny. The requested injunction seeks content-based restrictions on speech and cannot withstand scrutiny. The requested injunction is unconstitutional. Matthias cannot show she is entitled to the requested injunction under the stalking statute. A civil stalking injunction requires the petitioner to prove stalking as defined in Utah Code 76-5106-5 or .5. That section provides that an actor commits stalking if the actor intentionally or knowingly, A, engages in a course of conduct directed at a specific individual and knows or is reckless as to whether the course of conduct would cause a reasonable person, I, to fear for that individual's own safety or the safety of a third individual, or to suffer emotional distress. A course of conduct requires two or more acts directed at or towards a specific individual. The burden is on the petitioner to show by a preponderance of the evidence that stalking of the petition by the respondent has occurred. Coming over here again, you guys. Water, tea, whatever. Okay. I will continue. So, 1. Matthias fails to prove a course of conduct. Matthias' declarations recite only 2 instances where communicated specifically with her. In both instances, Matthias initiated the conversation. First, at the Maricopa County Courthouse, Matthias approached and greeted Christina. Immediately after, Matthias insisted that Christina participate in a lengthy conversation about Matthias' past statements and conduct. Later in the month, Matthias again initiated contact with Christina, this time by text to make accusations and demand upon Christina. As before, Christina reluctantly participated in this exchange. Christina could not have known that the communications were unwanted because Matthias initiated them. Indeed, Christina made no attempt to communicate, specifically with Matthias directly or indirectly after the April text where Matthias stated she did not wish to be contacted. Because Matthias cannot point to specific communication directed at Matthias, she attempts to rely on many unrelated and irrelevant statements by others, conduct, and Christina's online posts and public statements. The problem is none of those satisfy the definition of course of conduct because none of them are directed at or towards Matthias specifically. Statements and conduct by, there's 3 people, 3 blanks, blank, blank, and blank. The Matthias declarations and blank. declarations spend considerable time detailing statements and conduct of these people. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Matthias and Grayson. Allegations in their declarations. But even if the allegations are true, they are not, what is noticeably absent is any proof that Christina engaged in or influenced any of these events. In some instances, she learned about them afterwards and discussed them publicly later. That is not enough to show course of conduct. Online posts and public comments. The stalking statute is clear that an act or statement does not meet the definition of course of conduct unless it is directed at a specific individual. Matthias asked the court to parse the contents of blank's online posts and infer that blank intended Matthias to see them. Such an exercise is impermissible under the stalking statute and problematic under the First Amendment as discussed below. And even if it were appropriate to extrapolate, oh my God, the intent from the content of her posts, the post that Matthias references shows that Christina is not attempting to address specifically Matthias, her family, or Grayson directly or indirectly. The posts are clearly public commentary directed at the public generally. Matthias fails to prove course of conduct as the first required element for the requested injunction. I'm going to pop over here and see you guys again. All right. Keep going. Matthias cannot show that the reasonable person in her circumstances would experience fear or emotional distress. Matthias must also show that Christina knew or was reckless as to whether the course of conduct would cause a reasonable person to fear for the individual's own safety or the safety of the third individual, or to suffer other emotional distress. The second element of the stalking inquiry imposes an objective standard under which the subjective effect of the respondent's conduct on the petition is irrelevant, right? How you feel. I feel scared. Well, that, it's your emotions aren't legitimate facts, right? They're subjective. I might feel scared right now because it's really windy outside. Somebody else won't, right? Okay. I lost my spot. Matthias must show that Christina knew or was reckless. Oh, I already got it. Okay. Courts must avoid succumbing to a purely subjective analysis, which is inconsistent with the objective standard's intent to protect against criminalizing conduct that only an unreasonably sensitive or paranoid petitioner would find harassing. Courts applying individualized objective standard have considered such factors as the petitioner's background, the petitioner's knowledge of and relationship with the respondent, and history of abuse between the parties, and the cumulative effect of the respondent's repetitive conduct. The foregoing factors enumerated in Baird and later in Ragsdale are not an exhaustive list, and courts may examine other relevant factors. Here, Matthias cannot show that Christina knew or acted recklessly in such a way that the reasonable person in Matthias's circumstances would experience fear or emotional distress. Matthias is a public figure who continually exercised her right to speak publicly about her life, her friends, and a variety of other topics. Knowing this, Christina had no reason to expect that Matthias would attempt to quash Christina, much less through 2 false police reports and this proceeding. Receipts, guys. Further, the Baird factors all weigh strongly against a finding that a reasonable person under these circumstances would experience fear or emotional distress. As discussed above, Matthias's background as a public figure, ex-reporter, and social commenter clearly subjects her to public scrutiny, which is absolutely true. I mean, it's illegal, but yeah. I mean, I agree. But it is true. It's legally true. It simply is not reasonable that Matthias would expect to continually engage in public discussion, including negative statements about individuals without encountering speech she disagrees with and does not like. Similarly, the only instances Matthias identifies where Christina communicated with her directly or indirectly related to negative statements and conduct directed towards Christina and others. Matthias has no reasonable basis to expect that a friend or former friend would not discuss interpersonal issues with her, especially where, as here, Matthias initiated the communication every time. Matthias attempts to turn her falling out with Christina into an injunction with real implications for Christina's civil rights. That is not the purpose of the stalking statute. The cumulative effect of Christina's alleged conduct also does not warrant the requested injunction, as discussed above, with no real course of conduct to support her request. Matthias unleashes a torrent of unrelated allegations about others' conduct and Christina's protected First Amendment activity. All of that does not count under the stalking statute, Baird and other cases. The degree of culpability required prevents the court from counting events that Christina learned about only later. For example, Matthias has no good faith basis to claim that Christina intended or acted recklessly with respect to incidents in Boise when Christina was in Europe and learned about only after the fact. A number of other factors not specifically enumerated in Baird also weigh strongly against the requested injunction. First, Matthias already submitted 2 police reports with the same sort of misrepresentations currently before the court. In each instance, the police did not substantiate Matthias's claims. Second, nearly all the statements and conduct that Matthias referenced occurred in public places or online. Matthias's claim that they interfered with her work, but blank 2 other people and others also work in the true crime space or have been regular attendees of trials, press conferences, and conventions. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, blank names again, blank, and blank, have just as much right to be in public places and participate in public events as Matthias. This is not a situation where Matthias or Christina has accosted Matthias at home or in any other non-public space. Third, Matthias's own conduct cuts strongly against any notion that she feared for her safety. Matthias and Yor repeatedly approached, confronted, or attempted to confront 3 people and others. Not only does this contradict Matthias's testimony that she subjectively fears these individuals or was distressed, but a reasonable person in her circumstances would not engage in the conduct that Matthias has engaged in. Finally, the Matthias declarations and the Grayson declaration on their face deal only with Matthias's alleged subjective feelings. The Baird court specifically warned against granting an injunction based solely on subjective factors. Relatedly, Matthias makes no attempt to connect the dots between Christina's alleged statements and conduct and the extreme subjective reactions Matthias alleges. In sum, Matthias fails to show requisite mental state causation or objectively reasonable fear or emotional distress. Let me look at you guys again. These are long. There's a lot of documents, and this is just the first one. Let's see. I missed some here. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll continue. Get sidetracked with the chat here. B, the requested injunction is unconstitutional. Earlier this year, the Utah Court of Appeals in Ragsdale 2 reiterated the framework for determining whether a requested injunction violates the First Amendment. In assessing whether the civil stalking injunction violates the respondent's free speech rights, district courts must, at a minimum, determine whether each provision of a proposed injunction is content-based or content-neutral, and evaluate each provision under the corresponding level of scrutiny. Content restrictions are subject to strict scrutiny regardless of the government's benign motive. content neutral justification, or lack of animus towards the ideas contained in the regulated speech. Such restrictions overcome strict scrutiny only if they are narrowly tailored to serve compelling state interests. In the strict scrutiny of context, a restriction is narrowly tailored if it is the least restrictive means further the articulated interest. A content-based, and you guys, we will get, the other statements and stuff are in here. This is so much legal stuff, but it does set the foundation and the law, which I think is really important when we're talking about this and someone's rights. A content-based restriction is one that stifles speech on account of its message. In other words, a restriction is content-based if it requires enforcement authorities to examine the content of the message that is conveyed to determine whether a violation has occurred, or if it is concerned with undesirable effects that arise from the direct impact of speech on its audience or listeners' reactions to speech. This extends not only to a restriction on a particular viewpoint, but also to a prohibition of public discussion of an entire topic. Additionally, restrictions that appear content neutral on their face are treated as content-based if they cannot be justified without reference to the content of the regulated speech, or if they were adopted by the government because of disagreement with the message the speech conveys. In this case, each provision of the requested injunction is content-based and does not withstand strict scrutiny. Personal conduct. This section requests an order commanding Christina to not stalk Matthias, and then recites and references the statutory definition of stalking. This provision is problematic for three main reasons. First, as a practical matter, it is vague, unenforceable, and redundant of other provisions. Utah law already prohibits stalking, and there would be no way to enforce the order without resort to the courts. The parties are attending the hearing to determine if stalking has occurred. There is no reason to enter an order that requires the court to do the exact same thing anytime Matthias believes Christina is stalking her. This is especially true since it is not clear what the personal conduct order adds apart from the other provisions. Second, the issuance of the requested injunction in any form would impose on Christina's civil rights and violate the First Amendment because Matthias relies on Christina's protected speech to establish stalking. Basically, Matthias is asking the court to agree with Matthias' public speech and disagree with Christina. Such a restriction would be content-based because it is justified only with resort to Christina's message with the court adopting Matthias' viewpoint, punishing Christina, and in essence removing an entire topic, Matthias' own statement and conduct, from public discussion. There is no compelling government interest in favoring one speaker over the other, and a broad, so broad has to be meaningless restriction on stalking is far from being narrowly tailored enough to withstand strict scrutiny. Okay, so a little bit about that. I think what there's, tell me if this is how you're interpreting that part of that. So Lauren says these things, which is her First Amendment right, and she put things out there, maybe about her family, maybe about herself. She said things, right? They came from her. And then Christina put some kind of a response for that, on social media, TikTok, or thought it was weird or whatever. And they're saying, well, Lauren was allowed to do that because that's her right. But then when somebody responded to it, you're trying to take away her right, right? Okay, back to here. Third, personal conduct order in the requested injunction mirrors almost exactly the one the Utah Court of Appeals reviewed in Ragsdale 2. The Ragsdale 2 court held that the provisions purporting to bar conduct that would annoy, harass, or cause distress to the petitioner were content-based and could not withstand strict scrutiny. The court reasoned that the additional prohibition against annoying or causing distress could potentially enjoin respondent from talking about petitioner to others. Court was concerned that, for example, any appearance that respondent might make before the local governing authorities to complain about the presence of petitioner's business in the neighborhood could likely cause petitioner emotional distress or would, at the very least, annoy her. No contact. Matthias asked court to bar Christina from communicating directly or indirectly with Matthias and others. But this section must also be read in conjunction with the other assistance needed section, where Matthias asked the court to order Christina to cease and desist any and all online activity and communications, direct or indirect, relating to or referencing Matthias. Again, this restriction is content-based because it purports to quash speech on an entire subject. In this way, the no contact order in the requested injunction is distinguishable from the no contact order upheld in Ragsdale 2 and Towner v. Ridgway. The upshot of both of these cases is that the stalking injunction that prohibits communication with or to a person may be permissible where a prohibition on communicating about a person is not, or at least must withstand strict scrutiny. The Ragsdale 2 court summarized that Towner held that the civil stalking injunction did not violate the First Amendment because it enjoined the respondent from communicating directly to the petitioner. But it did not enjoin him from speaking about the petitioner. The court further noted that Ragsdale 2 and Towner, the no contact provisions prohibited any communication, either direct or indirect, from the respondent to the petitioner or to identified individuals. As with the provisions at issue in Towner, nothing in the no contact order precluded respondent from expressing his opinions, political or otherwise, about the presence of petitioner in his neighborhood to others not identified by the no contact order. You know, clearly, like, think about this. All the crap that they say about the president or about the ex-president or whatever, and the memes and the crap that people put out there and whatever, all that would be considered stalking if Lauren had her way with Christina. You know what I mean? I mean, think about it that in that simple terms. Think about it. All right. This is Christina's statement from, so anybody that's just joining in, this is Christina's first page, or this is the first document, Christina's statement in response to Lauren's civil stalking injunction. Okay. Stay away order. Matthias asked for an order that Christina stay away from Matthias's home, work, school, and vehicle. But as with the no contact order, Matthias modifies the form language and requests an order that Christina must stay away from online forums and other social media accounts, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, etc. Like, how ridiculous is that? You are not allowed online anymore because you said mean things about me. Seriously. That's how simple this is. Okay. This extra requirement is problematic on multiple levels. First, the restriction is content-based and cannot withstand strict scrutiny. On its face, the restriction appears to ban Christina from the internet in one swath. In one swath, Matthias hopes the court will eliminate Christina's ability to frequent all online public spaces. This ask alone unmasks Matthias's goal of eliminating Christina's ability to speak out on issues of public interest. The ban would be akin to allowing Matthias a popular pulpit in a public park while prohibiting others who disagree with her from the same public spaces. It's that simple. The First Amendment squarely forecloses this sort of preference. Second, to the extent that Matthias's request is meant to be interpreted more narrowly, it is unconstitutionally vague because it does not put Christina on notice of the extent of her ban. See Greenward v. City of North Salt Lake. Holding that a reaction is unconstitutionally vague where it does not provide adequate notice of what the restriction covers. In sum, the imposition of the requested injunction in any form would violate Christina's First Amendment rights because Matthias relies upon protected free speech to try to establish the element of stalking. As such, any restriction is content-based because the court can find the necessary elements only by examining the contents of the speech and by preferring Matthias's speech over Christina. Similarly, each proposed provision of the requested injunction fails to pass the First Amendment muster. The requested injunction is unconstitutional. Conclusion. Matthias is allowed to not like what Christina has to say about her, but Matthias falls far short of the statutory elements required under the stalking statute, and Christina's right to free speech forecloses the requested injunction. Christina respectfully requests that the court deny the requested injunction. Christina reserves the right to seek fees and under Utah code within the time frame provided under Utah Rule of Civil Procedure, dated this 19th of September, 2025. Okay, that's the first one. And then there's the certificate of service. Okay, let me get rid of that one. Let me see what you guys got to say over here. Let's see what PLM said here. The word restriction came up a lot in this hearing. Judge repeated several times, the purpose of restraining order is not to restrict a person's freedom of speech. Lauren's lawyer didn't get it. Because that's the biggest thing that Lauren's mad at. Christina hasn't come in front of her house. Christina hasn't peeked in her windows. Christina hasn't driven by her car. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing is, what really ticked her off and made her do this was those TikToks. And those TikToks are not stalking because they are your right to say anything about anybody. Again, like I said, there's all kinds of movie stars. And I know that Lauren's trying to make it downplay it that she's a public figure now because, you know, there's difference between a public figure and a private figure, but she clearly is a public figure, right? All right, let me find number 2. Why do these? I uploaded these, but then they like disappeared. Let me get another one. Number 2, I already uploaded them. 2. There's another one, okay? Just so that you guys can see it. It's here. It exists. I did notice there were some, I'm not going to show it on the screen because I did notice some of the there's some missing redactions. So I want to be very careful. So we'll take that down and I will read it. Let me get it up here on my screen. Okay. All right. This one. This is second Christina declaration. This is again more. This is Christina's declaration. Okay. Christina, so this says petitioner Lauren Matthias, respondent Christina, and then Judge Casey Wright, and the case number. I, Christina, do hereby state and declare as follows. I am over the age of 18. I am competent to testify in this matter. I have personal knowledge of the facts stated herein. I make this declaration in conjunction with the petition for civil stalking injunction filed by Lauren Matthias. Specifically, without limitation, this declaration addresses the allegations contained in the Declaration of Grayson and the documents referenced therein, and the Declaration of Lauren Matthias, and the second Declaration of Lauren Matthias, and the documents referenced therein. Okay, background. I met Matthias in April of 2024. Matthias holds herself out as an ex-reporter, journalist, and podcaster, dealing primarily with true crime cases. Matthias is a public figure. She and her husband run a YouTube channel, Hidden True Crime, that has approximately 317,000 subscribers. Her Instagram account has over 20,000 followers, and her TikTok account has over 56,000 followers. For several months, I communicated regularly with Matthias, and we became friends. Throughout the time period, I noticed certain red flags that suggested that Matthias's credentials and public image were inaccurate. my mouth gets so dry talking this like this. Okay. For several months, I already read that. Okay. For example, Matthias would describe to me interpersonal problems with her friends and in-laws based on accusations of theft and fraud. I also learned information that caused me to question Matthias's ethics in obtaining and handling confidential information. During this time period, multiple people expressed concern about Matthias's conduct. At approximately the same time I became friends with Matthias, I also became friends with 1 and 2, who had been friends with Matthias for a year prior. I also became friends with other women who were acquaintances of Matthias, including, there's another name, redacted. I communicated with, traveled with, and was invited to events with Matthias from April 2024 through the winter of 2024. Matthias also invited me to her house while I was on a work trip in blank. Matthias also invited me and my family to her home to swim in her pool when we were driving from blank. My friendship with Matthias ends. Matthias asked me to perform some graphic design work for her and her husband's businesses, which I did at a significant discount given our friendship. By January 2025, my friendship with Matthias was beginning to wane, and we communicated less frequently. I sent Matthias a final invoice in March of 2025 for the graphic design work. A copy of the invoice and correspondence related to my rate is expected to be offered in my defense. So there's an exhibit. Okay. Sorry, I just peeked at you guys again. By that point, I was no longer communicating on a regular basis with Matthias or spending time with her as a friend. On April 9th, 2025, I saw Matthias at the courthouse in Maricopa County, Arizona, after Matthias called out to me to get my attention. Matthias ran towards me, calling my name, and with her arms out, signaling she wanted a hug. While hugging Matthias, I stated that I had read some of the negative statements Matthias had made about me and others, and that I had seen evidence of her efforts to harm others and their businesses. Matthias insisted that we talk right then and there, even though I was hesitant because Matthias appeared to be in an elevated fight, flight, freeze state. Matthias stated that we need to talk immediately because she wanted to be alone and her assistant, Grayson, never leaves her side. During that conversation, Matthias acknowledged that some of the negative statements that I had seen were true and then attempted to justify them. Because Matthias does not always accurately represent verbal conversations, I recorded the conversation. After our friendship ended, Matthias initiated repeated contact with me to make accusations. I knew to be false and to demand I stop speaking about her, even with mutual acquaintances. After Matthias's initial contact, I exchanged several texts with her on April 21st and 22nd, 2025, regarding her accusations and demands. The texts are expected to be offered in my defense, Exhibit D2. Matthias blocked and unblocked me multiple times so she could state her demands and accusations without allowing me any response. Matthias's last text to me was April 22nd, 2025, and it again made false accusations about my conduct and demanded that I refrained from speaking publicly about her. I have not initiated contact with Matthias since March 12th, 2025, when I contacted her for a referral for my neighbor. I have not communicated with Matthias directly or indirectly since April 21st, 2025. However, Matthias unblocked me in August of 2025 to remove things from one of our conversations, and I received an alert that she had done so. Oh yeah, you can delete parts of text conversations, but you get alert. So-and-so removed that. Also on June 5th, 2025, I traveled to Arizona to attend a portion of the Lori Daybell trial. I was in Arizona for only 24 hours. While seated between blank and another friend in the waiting area, I saw Matthias wave at me in an attempt to engage. I ignored her and did not respond. This was another example of Matthias initiating contact with me, not the other way around. I believe this is Grayson, tried to call me twice on June 10th, 2025, but I did not answer or return her call. An image depicting the missed call is expected to be offered in my defense as Exhibit D3. Grayson also sent me a lengthy text message saying she felt sad that I had my feelings hurt and wanted to have a private conversation. I did not respond. A copy of these texts is expected to be offered in my defense, Exhibit D4. Since April 2025, I have learned of multiple instances where Matthias has behaved strangely and obsessively towards my friends who are also former friends and acquaintances of Matthias. On April 11th, 2025, Matthias sent blank a cease and desist letter containing numerous demands aimed at curbing blank speech. The cease and desist letter is expected to be offered in my defense in Exhibit D5. Notwithstanding the cease and desist letter, Matthias has taken purposeful steps to contact and communicate with blank. With blank. Okay, there's a period. Blank describes these in detail in her declaration, submitted concurrently herewith. Matthias sent a similar letter to another mutual acquaintance, blank. And then Matthias' declaration describes 2 alleged instances in Boise involving blank, 3 people and others. I was in Europe when these occurred. I learned about them only later. 1, 2, 3, blank, and blank, recount what occurred in their declarations submitted concurrently herewith. Let me look at you guys for a second. Grayson used to work for Gabby Petito's father, and Lauren was invited to a fundraiser where she met and took Grayson. Should have stayed with her former employer. Oh, I didn't hear that. I didn't know that. Yeah, A, C, and D part. Blank, and blank. And then the names are like out of order too. You can see one's the short one, one's the long one. Is that... Maybe I'm this. Maybe I need to go back. Let me go back to reading. I'm getting in the middle of your guys' business over there. I have since received the Boise Police Department report, along with copies of the videos Matthias submitted to the Boise police. Some of the videos were my posts online, even though I was not in Boise when the alleged incidents occurred. In the report, the officers stated that Matthias provided me with videos of 2 different incidents, including the incident at Bitter Creek Ale House. I did not see any intimidating or threatening behavior in the videos. At no point did I ask, encourage, or facilitate any of my friends or anyone to contact Matthias. Indeed, in a majority of instances, Matthias herself provoked the encounter with me in and before April and recently at CrimeCon and my friends. Matthias and Grayson have engaged in a pattern of entering spaces where I already am. As evident from the Matthias declarations and I believe this would be Grayson, Matthias's main issue is with public statements that I have allegedly made about Matthias. Matthias mischaracterizes many of these statements or describes them vaguely to misconstrue them or present them out of context. For example, Matthias alleges that I mocked a police officer when in fact I merely pointed out inaccuracies in what the officer told me, as is my right. A recording of my post is expected to be offered in my defense, Exhibit D6. Matthias omits any discussion of the context of that video, which was that I was contacted by the blank police department after Matthias contacted police in June 2025 to report that I and others were sharing private communications we had with Matthias. She calls the police a lot. Leave the police. Police have bigger, better things to do than girl fights. I'm sorry. I expect to offer in my defense a copy of the blank police report as Exhibit D7, in which the officer states that she did not find extortion. No text messages were intercepted, and Matthias's private messages were not hacked. The Matthias Declaration describes my public comments as targeted and aimed at trying to get people to identify who I am to come after me. This is not true. Matthias also alleges that I posted an emoji on a podcast that she participated in to let people know I was watching. The podcast was live and open to the public. As Matthias's declaration seems to acknowledge, I did not post the emoji to communicate specifically with Matthias, but to sign in and participate in the public chat. An image of the emoji is expected to be offered in my defense in Exhibit D8. As Matthias declarations demonstrate, Matthias takes issue with any public post that I make or related to her and any effort I make to investigate and or report on issues of public interest relating to Matthias. Some of my online content provides information about Matthias to general public. My statements are not directed at Matthias, Grayson, or the Matthias family. I believe that Matthias's goal is to quash my efforts to investigate and report truth and exercise my free speech rights under the First Amendment. For example, Matthias often makes claims regarding her husband's credentials as a psychologist and adjunct professor at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, UNLV. However, I learned that UNLV has no record of Matthias's husband serving as an adjunct professor, which Matthias appears to acknowledge in her declaration. I created a video discussing the issue and posted it for public information. I also believe that Matthias is attempting to prevent me from attending public events such as criminal proceedings and true crime conventions. Matthias is attempting to use this action to further this goal. Through this action, Matthias had me removed from CrimeCon in Denver, Colorado on the weekend starting Friday, September 5th, 2025. I purchased my ticket in June of 2024 for approximately $1,800. At the time, I was regularly in communication and friends with Matthias. She was aware that I purchased the ticket and she had no plans to attend. As recently as June of 2025, Blank overheard Grayson tell a friend that Matthias said that she did not have plans to attend CrimeCon. Unbeknownst to me, Blank, Matthias changed her mind and attended CrimeCon, knowing that I would be in attendance with blank, A, B, and C. I learned later that Matthias announced her plans publicly on a live stream. A video of the announcement is expected to be offered in my defense, Exhibit D9. Matthias was not a speaker and did not have a booth at CrimeCon. She purchased a day pass, and CrimeCon was not a work event for Matthias, as she stated in her second declaration. I arrived at Denver for CrimeCon, and I checked into the hotel on September 3rd, 2025. Okay, I'm going to come look at you guys for a minute. Overheard someone tell a friend is really in a court document. It's just her response. You know, I mean, yeah, it's hearsay, so that's not going to, like if it was a real true crime case, that'd be thrown out, right? But you can say anything you want in your declaration, and the judge will be like, sorry, it's hearsay, whatever. But it's what she's saying. And if she announced this on her YouTube that she was going to CrimeCon, I don't watch her, so I don't know. But if she announced it way later and she knew that Christina bought the premium tickets for $1,800, that's super not cool. If you knew you were going to decide that she's a stalker and have her served right then. Like, it's just mean all the way around. Yeah. That's the song. As soon as I saw that, I heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend. It's a song. Okay, let me continue. Okay, I arrived in Denver for CrimeCon and checked into the hotel on September 3rd, 2025. On September 5th, I was headed to one of the CrimeCon panels and was approached by the police. The police gave me the temporary injunction and told to remain in the hotel and not attend any of the CrimeCon events. The police told me specifically where I could and could not go. The police explained to me that I was permitted to remain in the hotel and access all areas of the hotel. except that I was not allowed to go beyond the designated CrimeCon signage or into the CrimeCon events. I asked about the hotel bar, and they told me that I could be there so long as it was not the CrimeCon convention and I was not approaching within 500 feet of Matthias. The audio of this conversation is expected to be offered in my defense in Exhibit D10. That night, I was in the hotel bar taking a picture for blank of her employer. And I have seen this picture close up. And yes, it was for somebody and she was taking a picture of them, who she worked with, right? Professional thing going on there. But Christina was asked to take this picture. Prior to arriving at the bar, one of my friends confirmed that Matthias was not in the bar. After being in the bar for several hours, a friend notified me that Matthias had entered the bar. So this is on, what was the date? This was on, 5th. Okay, the 5th. After being in the bar for several hours, a friend notified me that Matthias had entered the bar. I immediately wrapped up what I was doing and left. Double-fisted, tea and water. I did not intentionally stand close to Matthias or Grayson, as Matthias alleged in the second declaration. Rather, they entered my space. On September 6, 2025, I was again in the bar in the hotel's restaurant when Matthias appeared because she wanted to come to the bar. She called the police and had me removed from the bar. During my conversation with the police, Matthias and Grayson walked right by us, which is inconsistent with their claim that she's afraid of me. In other words, after serving me the order that prevented me from being within 500 feet of her, she purposely entered that space to force an encounter, just as she had done the prior day to blank following the cease and desist letter. On September 7th, 2025, I was having lunch in one of the hotel restaurants. I left with another individual, blank, and walked across the center courtyard between restaurants. I saw Matthias and immediately left the area with blank. At no point did I attempt to approach or communicate with Matthias. The same weekend as CrimeCon, I posted 3 videos that I had created long before receiving the temporary injunction. The videos are not posted to a targeted account, as Matthias claims, nor were they directed at Matthias and were not threatening, defamatory, or harassing. I did not believe the injunction restricted my ability to post public commentary. I have never threatened or caused anyone to threaten Matthias, her husband, or her coworkers. During that time, I was friends with Matthias. I observed and learned many things about Matthias' mental and emotional health. I personally observed signs that Matthias was anxious, depressed, and otherwise mentally and emotionally unwell. This leads me to question many of the statements Matthias makes regarding her mental and emotional health in Matthias' declarations, or at a minimum, the cause of the mental and emotional health problems. Similarly, the blank Grayson declaration claims that Grayson needed anxiety medication to manage the effects I was causing, when I know from personal interactions with Grayson that she had received mental health treatment, including medications, well before the issues alleged in the declaration. I did not cause, nor is it reasonable for Matthias or Grayson to claim I caused any of the issues they allege simply by A, exercising my freedom of speech, and B, addressing the public about matters of public interest. I am not obsessed with Matthias, as she claims. I have simply responded when she has involved me or when she made false or misleading public statements. I believe that Matthias is singularly fixated on preventing me from engaging in public discourse regarding any information about or even related to Matthias that Matthias deems hurtful or harmful. None of my public posts show Matthias' face, username, or encourage others to contact her. I express my opinion on matters of public concern and of interest to my subscribers, followers, and friends. Matthias and Grayson have both engaged in conduct towards me, blank, blank, and blank, and others that strongly contradicts their testimony, such as reaching out to me by phone and taking purposeful steps to put herself in the same location and physical proximity with us. Matthias's public posts also contradict her and Grayson's testimony that Matthias and Grayson have experienced fear or emotional distress. For example, While the Matthias declarations state that she was incapacitated by fear for months, she was actively creating, publishing, and promoting content on podcasts and social media during the same period. I'm going to look at you guys. So I'm gonna go over here. How's it going? That picture of Christina taking photos, Joe Smo said on Queen Bee Live that he and LM moved tables closer and closer where Christina was sitting. They moved. Bar video corroborates, allegedly. Joe, I heard Joe say that. He said we moved 3, because Jay was like, whoa, hold on. You moved. You said you moved and moved and moved again. So they moved closer? Well, as better tables opened up, wouldn't you be moving farther? That was weird. Joe's putting some foot in his mouth. I think you might want to be quiet, to be honest. I mean, maybe not, because he's helping. Oh, God. Okay. And the reason why I am so focused on this right now with my channel is because I am a content creator, right? And I want people to understand you can say things and that freedom of speech does matter. And that if this were to be allowed and Christina were to be get accused of stalking and enforced that she's a stalker and be called a stalker and that's on her record for the rest of her life, then all of us this could happen too. It's very dangerous what Lauren's doing here. It's very dangerous. Oops. Sorry. Sorry, that was probably a big bang. Sorry. I will go back. Matthias published live content over 100 times since April 9th, 2025. She has posted hundreds of pre-recorded videos and her podcast episodes during the same time period across various platforms she uses. On July 6, 2025, Matthias and her husband posted a hidden true crime podcast episode called Cults and Conformity, in which they discuss a variety of topics, including interpersonal relationships, the nature of cults and communities, family dynamics, conformity, cyberbullying, and AI regulation. Multiple times in the episode, Matthias mentions how she has always liked chaos, though not necessarily the kind of chaos that hurts people. Matthias also described how she does not like conformity, and for that reason, many people do not like her. Matthias' husband casually mentioned that their company had experienced growing pains due to negative interactions with the public. The episode contains no indication that Matthias was afraid, distressed, or panicking, which directly contradicts Matthias and Grayson's testimony that they were unable to function in daily life and that this situation has persisted for 4 months. It also contradicts Grayson's testimony that Matthias' husband, a licensed psychologist, purportedly the very next morning confided in Grayson that Matthias was suicidal and rocking in bed just hours after posting the episode. Around the same time, Matthias also appeared on an episode of Mormon Stories podcast, where she shared her thoughts and personal details of her life. Again, this contradicts Matthias and Grayson's testimony that she was living in fear and unable to function. Instead, it illustrates how Matthias is using this proceeding to attempt to quash legitimate public discourse on topics and issues she has spoken about in various media. More recently, on August 2nd, 2025, Matthias appeared on the Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo podcast, where she announced that she would attend CrimeCon and discuss numerous other topics. To date, the episode has over 12,000 views and approximately 250 comments. There's a link. I declare under penalty of perjury under Utah law that the foregoing is true and correct to the best of my knowledge. Dated 19th of September, 2025. So that's number 2. All right. Honestly, the more I read this, and now that I've heard Lauren's side, and Christina's, if Christina bought her ticket and she has, I'm sure, the receipt of when she purchased it, because those tickets do sell out that long ago, a year before, and Lauren had verbally said she's not going and then announced she's going right way after when Christina bought her ticket, and then does this stalking injunction. I mean, anybody with 2 eyes and 2 ears would raise their eyebrows at this. Don't you think? Like a setup, exactly. Like a setup. Okay, let me find the next one. Remove that one. I'm going to remove that one and we'll get number 3 up. Number 3. Okay. Here's the third one, you guys. Just want to put it up here for you to see. And then I'm going to take it down. So the third one is okay. All right. So this is one of the other ladies, witnesses, and this is her declaration. Okay. So we will read this one. Okay. I want to see this comment. Let's not pretend it's not clear. The temporary restraining order was timed to ruin Christina's CrimeCon vacation. Supposedly she had the top price ticket. It's in that document, $1,800 for her ticket. Oh my gosh, I would be so upset because CrimeCon isn't something that we can go to. I had to cancel. I had general admission last year for CrimeCon and I had to cancel it because I had nobody to stay with my mom. And I was so bummed. I lost my airfare and my hotel and, but it was only a general admission. It was like $300 something. But gosh, unbelievable. Okay, let me take this down and we will read it. Okay. So again, petitioner Matthias and respondent Christina, Judge Casey Wright. Respondent. Okay, this one is one of the other people. So I, blank, hereby state and declare as follows. I am over the age of 18 and I am competent to testify in this matter. I have personal knowledge of facts. Okay, we all know. Everybody has to make that same declaration. So we'll move on to the history, background. 5, I met Christina in April of 2024. I first met Lauren Matthias in April 2023. We were acquaintances and later became friends. I have known Grayson, Matthias's associate, for several years and previously worked with her. After May of 2024, I attended various events that M and Matthias also attended, including court proceedings, press conferences, and other public gatherings. My friend, blank, and another friend, blank, attended many of the same events. My friendship with Matthias and M and others in our circle continued through the end of 2024. In January 2025, I sent Matthias 2 text messages in an attempt to schedule a podcast collaboration with my current employer. Our text conversation was friendly and professional. The next time I saw Matthias in person was April 2025 in Phoenix, Arizona, when I attended portions of the Lori Daybell trial at Maricopa County Courthouse. We greeted each other in line to enter the courthouse and had a brief conversation. I was at the trial for work, and I did not interact with Matthias at all during the remainder of my time in Phoenix. I later learned that in the week of April 7th, 2025, M had a conversation with Matthias to discuss some of Matthias' statements about Christina. Then, on April 11th, 2025, Matthias sent me a cease and desist letter. The cease and desist, which made various accusations against me and demanded that I cease speaking publicly about Matthias. The cease and desist accused me of actions I did not commit, and I did not present proof of any of her accusations. I believe the cease and desist was sent to threaten and intimidate me into silence because of my friendship with Christina. In April or May of 2025, I learned that Matthias made false claims that people were hacking her iCloud account and extorting her. At some point in June of 2025, I became aware that Matthias had called the police regarding at least 2 of my friends, including Christina. Following the cease and desist, I have been present at many of the same public locations and events as Matthias due to my job. At no point have I videotape recorded, approached, talked to, or spoken publicly about Matthias. In fact, I have deliberately tried to stay away from Matthias and avoid even looking at her when we are in the same general location. The same cannot be said for Matthias. Instead, on several occasions since I received the cease and desist, Matthias and Grayson intentionally positioned themselves very close to me in public, sitting beside me, sitting behind me, and standing next to me. At one point, Grayson appeared to be trying to read the screen on the device I was using. Each time they positioned themselves near me, it was unnerving and unsettling, and I believe the contact was intended to intimidate me. Matthias and Grayson's conduct persisted through April and June of 2025, whenever we were in the same public places. Christina was not present for any of these events. Matthias attempts multiple times to spark a confrontation with me in Boise. In July 2025, I was on a work trip in Boise, Idaho, where I attended Brian Koberger's sentencing during the week of July 21st, 2025. While outside the courthouse, sitting under the media tent with Matthias and Matthias and Grayson walked into my immediate vicinity and remained there, approximately 4 feet from me and blank. Later, I attended a press conference along with blank. Blank and I were saving a seat for blank, and Matthias and Grayson entered the venue. Matthias approached the area where I was sitting and asked aloud if there was an open seat. One of my other friends told Matthias there was not a seat available. Matthias then addressed me directly and asked if the seat between me and blank was available. I did not respond to Matthias due to the prior cease and desist, as well as her attempts to weaponize the police with false hacking and extortion allegations against my friends. Blank briefly spoke to Matthias to tell her that she did not feel it was appropriate for Matthias to try to speak or sit by me given the cease and desist. At that point, Matthias and Grayson, it's overlapped with the redaction, moved, to the other side of the venue and easily found a seat, which made it obvious that there was no reason for Matthias to try to engage with me. Then, for no apparent reason, Matthias sent Grayson back across to our side of the venue. Grayson blinked and stood right next to me and my group, who were seated. Later that night, I went with blank and others to my favorite restaurant in Boise, Bitter Creek Ale House. Matthias knew it was my favorite restaurant based on past statements I made to her. We dined for approximately 2 hours before leaving to go get dessert at a different restaurant across the street. While some members of our group were in the restroom, we learned that Matthias and Grayson arrived at the restaurant and positioned themselves in the outside dining area near the exit. Bitter Creek Ale House is a small seat-yourself restaurant, so Matthias's decision to sit there confused and frustrated me. I believe that Matthias and Grayson sat there deliberately to harass me and provoke a confrontation. As we left, blank briefly spoke to Matthias and expressed her view that it was inappropriate for her to continue to try to contact or provoke an encounter with me given the cease and desist. We then crossed the street for dessert as previously planned. At no point did we attempt to further engage with Matthias. I was experiencing significant anxiety due to Matthias's continual attempts to contact me and had no desire to have any contact with Matthias. Days later, I learned that Matthias and Grayson called the police and filed a stalking report concerning me and my friends. Christina was not with us during either of these incidents in Boise and was, in fact, out of the country. Christina did not suggest, ask, or otherwise prompt us to interact with Matthias in any of these events following the cease and desist or any other time. Rather, it was Matthias and Grayson that initiated the contact. Christina and I purchased tickets last summer for CrimeCon in Denver, Colorado, which took place September 5th through 7th, 2025. Matthias was aware that we purchased tickets but did not purchase them at the same time. As recently as June of 2025, while in Phoenix, Grayson walked up to the area I was sitting and began a conversation with one of my friends who was sitting right next to me. All right, I need another big sip of water. My throat. In this conversation, I overheard Grayson state that neither her nor Matthias had plans to attend CrimeCon. Even though I purchased a ticket to CrimeCon as an attendee, my trip also functioned as a work trip because my employer was scheduled to speak at 2 different panels. Matthias was not a speaker, presenter, or registered creator with a CrimeCon booth. This can be verified through CrimeCon. Nevertheless, Matthias and Grayson ended up at CrimeCon as attendees and continued their pattern of entering my space and trying to provoke confrontation. I arrived in Denver on September 3rd. Christina had already checked into the hotel where we were all staying. On September 4th, 2025, I was with Christina when she informed me that her husband told her the police had come to their home with a stalking injunction from Matthias. On September 5th, I was in the hotel bar with blank, setting up a table and area where my employer wanted to record a podcast. That evening, Matthias and Grayson appeared in the hotel bar and repeatedly placed themselves within a 5-foot radius for me for a sustained period of time. At one point, Grayson to the table where I was and stood approximately 2 feet from me. I thought Matthias and Grayson's conduct was strange since Matthias had listed me as an accomplice on a request for a stalking injunction. A similar situation occurred the following day at the hotel bar. A retired Orange County police officer approached me in the bar that night and warned me that it looked like someone was following me. This retired police officer pointed out that it was Grayson. I believe that Matthias and Grayson purposely engaged in this conduct to intimidate and harass me. I dispute the allegations regarding Christina online posts and their alleged impact on Matthias and her husband and Grayson. It is not clear to me what posts and public comments Matthias and Grayson reference in their declarations. However, I have listened to and viewed a significant amount of content, some of which is about Matthias. The content does not threaten, defame, or harass Matthias. Blank does not purport to address Matthias directly or indirectly. Rather, Blank is simply engaging, or Christina, is simply engaging in public discourse regarding the topics of interest in the true crime community, which at times includes Matthias and Matthias's conduct and public statements. Matthias has spoken publicly on many aspects of her personal life, her purported credentials, and a variety of true crime-related topics. From what I know of Matthias and Grayson on their public statements and the time that I've spent with them, I do not believe that they have suffered the adverse effects they describe in their declarations. I also do not believe it would be reasonable for a public figure like Matthias, who is outspoken on many issues, to experience fear or emotional distress from others exercising their right to public discussion on issues of general interest. I believe, based on my personal experience with the cease and desist and subsequent events, that Matthias is attempting to intimidate me and now Christina in order to discourage us from speaking publicly and attending public events. I'm also aware in other instances where Matthias has fallen out with former friends and subsequently made false accusations against the friend. I declare under penalty of perjury under Utah law that the foregoing is true, correct, to the best of my knowledge, and that was signed on 19th of September, 2025. All right, let me come over here and see you guys. This is an example of when I think, if I could go back, should I have shared what I really felt about Lauren in 20 and 24? Would anyone have believed me? No, they wouldn't have. They wouldn't have believed you. if I remember correctly, we pay $5.99 for the HTC Patreon. Very serious threats are being shared, but you have to pay to hear them. I don't get it. Well, somebody used their fair use, whatever, and they actually did post that on Twitter, and I was kind of like, not cool, guys. He said, what would you, something like, what would you want to say? I should just find it. What would you want to say to, I guess, to Christina if she's watching? She's like, well, thanks for being a Patreon. And then she said, are you going to share something about the text messages? And then John said, yeah, it'd have to be a higher tier. You'd have to pay for the higher tier level or something. And they laughed. Like, how scared are you right now? Seriously, you're laughing about it, saying people are going to have to pay more to see that hot stuff. I think a person came forward on Web Sleuths last night and said it was her who followed Christina and took pictures. She said her name was Megan Connor or something. Oh, okay. So Megan Connor is Lori Vallow's cousin, who since, like a lot of people in that family, have started a YouTube channel podcast. And apparently she's friends with Lauren. From what I understand, they spent a lot of time together at CrimeCon, and her and Joe Schmo were somehow assigned or decided or whatever, the flying monkey role of taking pictures of Christina. And I really think Joe Schmo, when he said, well, we moved closer and closer and closer, kind of blew it for Lauren's side of the story, but fine by me. Yeah. At Idaho, yes, I unsubscribed when I noticed catty behavior, little things that bothered me. I really wish she would have stayed like they were when it was a podcast around the dinner table is good. Let me see if I can find that real quick, Holly. Who sent that to me? Let's see. Ugh, it's not gonna work. Hold on. Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay, hold on. Let me share it. I got it. It popped right up, probably because I watched it earlier. Let's see. You guys good?
Oh,
Can
they're
you
listening.
hear it? Can you hear it?
Go ahead.
Thanks for being a Patreon member.
Dude, you can't put that in.
I don't know what else to say. It's weird, but
Very weird.
Well, I guess
Very
I could say
fucking
thanks to all of our
weird.
patrons except our stalkers. Like, I don't know. That's
I
weird.
know I'm grateful for that too. Supporting our
No,
channel.
why don't we say thanks to our patrons, including our stalkers, and hey, if you guys really want the scoop, you're gonna have to upgrade your tier level.
Yeah. You want all the private texts.
Yeah,
if
please
you want all the
upgrade your
private
tier
text.
level to get the full Patreon experience.
Yeah, as we sit here and laugh and giggle, because what'd you just get done saying? We don't feel safe putting our content on YouTube for everyone to watch. So you have to make time to choose another platform to watch me on that you have to pay for first. And you're only going to get the juicy text if you pay the higher tiers. And thank you to our stalker as well.
Right? Come on. Look real scared there, Matthias is. Looks more like a con job to me than anything. Like is this all just a big publicity stunt, maybe? You getting low on subscribers? it does discredit the claim of fear. It really does. Well, thank you to our stalkers. Ha 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 ha. Thanks for paying. There you go. I think, big difference. Big difference. And so for all those creators, I watched Turtle Boy today. Oh, it was so funny. He kept saying, Duty Ron, 20 push-ups for you. Like, I can't believe you're I was laughing. He's very funny. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, there's a lot of creators that are on Lauren's side, and being part of this true crime community as a creator for 6 years, I know a lot of people want to get in good or want to keep a good relationship with people that have a huge platform because it will bring them views and subs. It will. I'm not about it. I will never get to 500,000 subs because I'm just not a kiss ass. I believe in being extremely ethical and truthful, and I don't go after people like that. But this was brought on by Lauren. 100% brought on by Lauren. Her and Christina, if Lauren, in my world, in my friends' world, if there was a spat between friends, they would either stop talking, blocked each other, and never talked again, or worked it out, right? That's what normal people do. Okay. I'm going to put you guys on pause because I have to pee really bad. So everybody go take a pee break and we'll be right back. And I will continue reading. Okay, I'm back. Let me get rid of the music. All right, I'm back. Sorry. I decided to let the doggies go potty too. Since I had to go, I figured they probably had to go as well. So, where are we? And I heated that up just in case. The thing I like about Turtle Boy is I can show a short to my husband about Lauren and he instantly understands. Yeah, it's all like the guy perspective, right? The guy perspective. All right. Thank you. I saw that, Shirley. I saw that you gifted 5 memberships. That is so sweet of you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, back to the, all right, that was document 3. So now we'll move on to document 4. Let me get this. Your computer. Okay. I'll show you again. Oh, thank you so much, PLM. Thank you. Very kind. Very, very kind. So I'm taking a little throat break for a second. All right. Let's go. Before I lose my light. I'm using daylight still. All right. So this will be number 4 document, as you can see. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. Justine got a gift membership. We'll have to do, let's do a members only live Friday. All right. Since we're getting these memberships, I'll figure out what time. Maybe not late, like in the middle of the day Friday. Do a members only live. I used to do happy hour, but I think the middle of the day works. What do you think? Let me know. Okay, so Kathy is going to take this one down. And I'm going to close this door because my animals now are all wound up. I swear, I should get a babysitter for the animals. Oh, cool. Yeah, you guys are so sweet. Thank you very much. All right, let me get to this here. Get rid of 3. Let's get to 4. What do you got? What do you got? What do you guys got? I hear somebody has something in their mouth. All right, ready? My throat, I think, is okay. Okay, so this is from one of the other people. And this person did testify as well, the court date. So I'm not going to read the part I'm over 18, blah, 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 blah. I met, so she says, this is one of the other women. She says, I met Christina in April of 2024. I have known Lauren Matthias for many years, but we have never been friends. Since April 2024, I've attended various events that Christina and Matthias also attended, including court proceedings, press conferences, and other public gatherings. My friend Blank and another friend Blank also attended many of these same events. In or around March of 2025, I learned that Matthias made several defamatory statements about me. I attended the Lori Daybell trial in Maricopa County, Arizona in April of 2025. On or about April 9th, 2025, I learned of a conversation between blank and Matthias. Blank appeared upset, but Matthias did not appear anxious or fearful. Must be Christina, right? On April 11th, 2025, I learned that Matthias sent blank a cease. Oh, this is the other one. The other one that we just heard. Sent that lady, a cease and desist letter, which made various accusations against blank and demanded that she cease speaking publicly about Matthias. Lauren, I mean, if this stuff is true. Lauren literally thinks she's like the queen of YouTube and she can do anything and say anything and everybody else just needs to be quiet and not speak of her unless it's nice. Which made various accusations against blank and demanded that she cease speaking publicly about Matthias. I tried to talk to Matthias about the statements. Fearing that Matthias would misinterpret the conversation, I attempted to record it. Misrepresent the conversation. I need to make my font bigger. Okay. Matthias approached me while recording and asked if I was recording her. She later submitted the video to the Boise Police Department. Matthias became emotional and ran into the courthouse claiming that I was threatening her and bullying her. Oh, we saw that video. I saw that video. She then reemerged and continued filming me, repeating that I was threatening and bullying her. I was not threatening or bullying her. It was pretty clear in the video she was not. Following this encounter, one or more bailiffs approached me about the incident. They told me Matthias claimed she felt threatened and asked if I felt threatened by Matthias. The bailiffs did not remove me from the courthouse or otherwise restrict me. They merely encouraged me not to talk to Matthias. Immediately thereafter, Grayson followed me into the bathroom and approached me various other times. This is consistent with the many instances where Matthias and Grayson have made allegations against me, blank, and others, only to enter our personal space and attempt to provoke a confrontation. This conduct and pattern persisted through April and June anytime we saw Matthias or Grayson. For example, at the Daybell trial on June 10th, 2025, I was sitting in the courtroom awaiting witness testimony. During a break, Matthias and Grayson moved up 2 rows to sit directly behind me in the courtroom. Christina was not present for any of these events. Matthias attempts multiple times to spark a confrontation with me in Boise. I attended portions of the Brian Kohberger sentencing in Boise, Idaho, the week of July 21st, 2025. Matthias continued her unusual and concerning conduct in 2 main episodes. Can I just say I'm really jealous that everybody gets to go to all these trials and I can afford to do it but me? I want to go. I went to 2 Daybell trials, so I guess I'm blessed enough to appreciate that I was able to do that. Anyway, okay, that's just me. That's just my little poor me thing. I attended portions of the Kohberger sentencing in Boise, Idaho, the week of July 21st, but I'm actually glad I wasn't there doing all this stuff because I know these people pretty well. And I don't want my name on this shit, right? Matthias continued okay, sorry. I gotta stop 1 second. I'm interrupting with my own thoughts. I attended portions of the Brian Kohberger sentencing in Boise, Idaho, the week of July 21st, 2025. Matthias continued her unusual and concerning conduct in 2 main episodes that occurred on July 23rd, 2025. On July 23rd, I attended a press conference along with blank and blank. Blank and blank saved me a seat. And when I returned from the restroom, I learned that Matthias and Grayson had yet again attempted to speak to blank despite the cease and desist. By the time I arrived, Matthias and Grayson had crossed to the other side of the venue and were seated. Then, for no apparent reason, Matthias sent Grayson back across to our side of the venue. Grayson came and stood in front of me and next to my friends who were seated on that row. I took a video of Grayson standing next to us, but I did not put the camera in her face as she claims. A picture showing my position in relation to Grayson is expected to be submitted for MacArthur's defense in Exhibit D11. Later that night, I went with blank, blank, and others to blank's favorite restaurant in Boise. We dined for approximately 2 hours before leaving to go to a dessert at a different restaurant across the street. After I exited the restaurant, I learned that Matthias and Grayson had arrived at the restaurant and positioned themselves in the outside dining area near the exit. Given Matthias and Grayson's position, there was no way to exit the restaurant without passing right by Matthias and Grayson. Blank briefly spoke to Matthias and expressed her view that it was inappropriate for her to continue to try to contact, provoke, or encounter with Blank given the cease and desist. We then crossed the street for dessert as previously planned. At no point did we attempt to further engage with Matthias. Nevertheless, Matthias called the police and accused us of stalking her. I spoke to an officer, explained the situation, and the investigation is now closed. I have received a copy of the Boise Police Department report. I have provided the report for use in Christina's defense in Exhibit D12. I also received a number of videos that Matthias submitted as evidence of her claims. These included some of Christina's public posts, even though Christina was not present in Boise, as well as videos of the courthouse incident described above and the incident in Boise. I mean, who's stalking you? Why are we getting all these other people when Christina's not even there? Sad. Okay. In the report, the officer stated that Matthias provided me with videos of 2 different incidents, including the incident at Bitter Creek Ale House. I did not see any intimidating or threatening behaviors in the videos. Christina was not with us during either of those incidents in Boise and was, in fact, out of the country. Christina did not suggest, ask, or otherwise prompt us to interact with Matthias in any of these events following the cease and desist. Rather, it was Matthias and Grayson that initiated the contact. I attended CrimeCon, which occurred on September 5th through 7th, 2025 in Denver, Colorado, along with blank, and others. Matthias and Grayson also attended CrimeCon and continued their pattern of trying to provoke confrontation with me and others. I was surprised later when Christina received a temporary restraining order. I was not aware of any attempt that Christina made to contact or otherwise engage with Matthias or Grayson at CrimeCon. Even when Christina was speaking to the police about the order on September 6, 2025, I watched Lauren and Grayson walk right past where Christina was talking to the police. Matthias claimed in the request for the temporary restraining order that she believed she was in immediate danger, that Christina and her accomplices were planning another confrontation at CrimeCon. But I have video from September 6, 2025 showing Matthias in a restaurant chatting with somebody with blank and others nearby. A copy of the video will be provided for Defense Exhibit D13. At no point did I observe Matthias or Grayson experience any anxiety or fear. I dispute all the allegations regarding Christina's online posts and their alleged impact on Matthias, her husband, and Grayson. It is not clear to me what posts and public comments Matthias and Grayson reference in their declarations. However, I've listened to and viewed a significant amount of Christina's content, some of which is about Matthias. The content does not threaten, defame, or harass Matthias. Christina does not purport to address Matthias directly or indirectly. Rather, Christina is simply engaging in public discourse regarding the topics of interest in the true crime community, which at times includes Matthias and Matthias's conduct and public statements. Matthias has spoken publicly on many aspects of her personal life, her purported credentials, and a variety of true crime-related topics. From what I know of Matthias and Grayson, based on their public statements and the time that I've spent at the same public events, I do not believe that they have suffered the adverse effects they described in their declarations. I also do not believe that it would be reasonable for a public figure like Matthias, who is outspoken on many issues, to experience fear or emotional distress from others exercising their right to public discussion on issues of general interest. I believe, based on my personal experience, that Matthias is attempting to intimidate me, Christina, or blank and blank, in order to discourage us from speaking publicly and attending public events. I declare independently purgatory, blah, 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 blah. So that's that one. Let me see what you got going on over here. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right, let's go to number 5. I've seen them too. We've all seen the videos, right? Because Lauren played them in her 9-hour live. And they are. This matches that to me. I know for a fact Christina was not there when they were at the restaurant in Boise. And Christina had sent a cease and desist, or not Christina, Lauren had sent a cease and desist to one of these ladies. And one of the other ladies was kind of like, okay, you keep trying to approach the person that you sent a cease and desist letter, so do not do that. Like, you sent her a cease and desist, stop. So that is absolutely all true. There is absolutely no law, rule, or problem with someone making a video talking about someone else. Furthermore, the live stream is just as much stalking or not stalking as what Christina did. Exactly. I am legally allowed to do what I'm doing right now, along with all the other content creators that are doing the same thing or the opposite, right? It's no different. And by law, this is not a crime. This is not stalking. This is freedom of speech right here, right now. Perfect example. Thank you. All right, let's get the next one before it gets dark. All right, I have to go find my light. Okay, number 5. You guys, this one will be interesting. This is a police report. So let me get the kitty cat. Okay, hold on. Let me put this one down and that one up. It's starting to get dark early. Time changes pretty soon too, huh? Number 5. Boise. Right, when you compare it with the dome. Oh my God, with the whole dentist thing, it just cracks me up. Because, again, they're trying to get a hold of you to complete your dental work, girl. There's nothing nefarious about that. No, you wanted your teeth fixed. They're trying to, get you to finish up. All right, kitty cat, you have to get down. Leave the tea bag alone. Go over there and get it. Go to get the tea. I'm going to play with the tea bag. She's 24. Grayson's 24, from what I was told. Hi, Glenda the Good Witch. Yes. What was said about Gigi? Well, Gigi has spoken on Reddit about some stuff as well. So, okay. The whole dentist thing is absolutely ridiculous. Yes, I've spoken to the woman who's the wife of the dentist, and she does not watch these videos. She's not watch it. She did not watch Trisha's with Grayson or anything. She's just like, it's just ridiculously too much. But I did send her the clip of Grayson complaining about the dentist, and she's like, oh my God, they're automated. They're automated reminders. Come on, let's not make this bigger than it has to be, because it's already too big for what it is. Yes, those damn bill collectors. Darn them. My electric bill stalks me every month. They still send me a bill. No, she's 24. She said it when Trisha interviewed her on Web Sleuth. She said it. I know, Gigi. I do have to say, Gigi, when I met Gigi at the Daybell hearing or trial, Gigi was so nice. As soon as I came in and sat behind her, she turned around and greeted me. She went in her purse and she handed me one of her Pretty Lies and Alibi stickers. Then she came up when we were all talking outside. She was very approachable and very kind. And, I have her on my Facebook as a Facebook friend. I've never heard her say anything mean about anybody in this whole content creator, true crime, long crime, any of that. She's professional and she is very kind, very kind. Okay, let me get you the police report. So here is this police report. All right. Well, let me find it to read it. Gonna have to put it on super zoom. Okay. I'm going to take it down here so that we can just look at it or I can read it to you. All right. So, time and date. April 9th, 2025 to July 23rd, 2025. what? Time and date. Okay, so there's more. Okay, so this is the Bitter Creek Ale House. Charge 1, offense charge, stalking, 2nd degree, misdemeanor. I was contacted by blank and blank at the Bitter Creek Ale House. So that'd be not Christina. Christina was gone. She was out. That would be Lauren and Grayson. Sorry. So this police officer's statement. I'm being stalked by the Toyota people because they fixed my car yesterday and now they want me to answer their survey. It just popped up on my text. Okay. And I'm being stalked by a black cat too. I was contacted by Lauren and Grayson at the Bitter Creek Ale House on 8th Street on the above date and time. Blank explained, so Grayson or Lauren, explained to me that a group of women, including 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, have engaged in a course of conduct since April 2025 until present that has caused her great alarm and fear. She advised that she had a falling out with blank, who at one time was her colleague. Since then, she was approached and harassed by blank in Arizona at a courthouse and had to have the bailiffs tell blank to leave her alone. All the females have made TikToks disparaging blank and cyberbullying her. On July 23rd, 2025, blank asked for a seat in the press area of Koberger trial, and blank started to yell at her. Later, now these are coming from Lauren's words, right? Later in the evening, blank and blank were eating at the Bitter Creek Ale House. They were approached by blank and blank, who were harassing them and trying to intimidate them. Blank and blank were asked to leave by the staff. Blank provided me with videos of 2 different incidences, including the incident at Bitter Creek Ale House. I did not see any intimidating or threatening behavior in the videos. I contacted 3 of the females, and they all advised me that blank had contacted them several times, and the incidents had been back and forth. So then this is like everybody's names, who they are. Okay. Initial response contact, stalking 2nd degree. On the above date and time, I was working as a sergeant for the Boise Police Department in full uniform and in a marked patrol vehicle. While working, I self-assigned to a harassment call at Bitter Creek Ale House located at 2... God, all the people staring at you and stuff. Oh, come on. Oh, Ricky, what do you... Oh, okay, never mind. Located at 246 North 8th Street. When I arrived, I spoke to the calling party, blank, via telephone. Blank advised me that a group of females she is familiar with followed her to the Bitter Creek Ale House and confronted her. They followed her there. All right, I got to look at what you're saying. I'm sorry, I can't stay. What the hell? You guys are cool over here. Like, make sure. Oh no, I just swallowed wrong. Don't do that. Don't start coughing. Somebody told me water doesn't help. I literally just swallowed wrong. Talking and swallowing is not a good idea. So yeah, okay, the cop is talking about what he was told here. So okay. I lost my place. Followed her to Bitter Creek Ale House and confronted her. Blank advised that this group of females, so Lauren advised that this group of females has been harassing her, creating TikToks about her, and bullying her since April of 2025. Lauren advised that she used to work with a female named Blank. Blank was her producer, and last year they split ways. When they split ways, Blank made a comment that Blank was a bully. I mean, okay. It's still not illegal to say that your ex-boss is a bully. According to Lauren, since that time, Blank and her friends have been harassing her. Lauren said that they are making TikToks about her. I'm sorry, I shouldn't do that. That's not nice. are making TikToks about her, cyberbullying her, and contacting her in various locations. She advised that on April 9th, inside the Maricopa County Courthouse, a female by the name of blank approached blank about hurt feelings. So Christina approached Lauren about hurt feelings. She recorded Lauren and their private conversation. This turned into a back and forth battle via text and emails. On April 15th, blank approached Lauren to speak with her at the courthouse. I'm pretty sure it looked like Turtle Boy really zoomed in on this one when Lauren was going up the courthouse and the other lady was walking in and was like, I want to talk to you. I don't feel safe. That's what this is referring to, I think. So on April 15th, blank approached Lauren to speak with her at the courthouse in Arizona. Is that one or no? This, okay, no, wait, sorry. I need to stop guessing. So the Maricopa County Courthouse, a female by the name of blank approached about hurt feelings. She recorded it and their private conversation turned into a back and forth battle via text. There's too many of these like at the courthouse steps, Chase. On April 15th, blank approached blank to speak with her at the courthouse in Arizona. Blank advised blank that she did not want to talk to her due to her actions. Lauren was concerned enough that she advised the bailiff at the courthouse of that woman's actions. The bailiff at that time contacted, the name isn't redacted there, and advised her not to speak with Lauren any further. Lauren said that after that contact, they made more TikToks talk about her and have even made comments that Lauren wanted to RAPE her own brother. I didn't see any of that anywhere. That word, come on. Lauren said that everywhere she goes, they will videotape her and harass her. Lauren advised that if it got bad enough, Lauren advised that it got bad enough that she sent a cease and desist letter to blank. I don't want to get these earthquake notifications because I'm like, is it coming or did I miss it or is it near? Hold on, earthquake notification. Nothing's shaking here, so. Where'd it go? Sorry. You know, the ones that we have these ones now out here where it'd be like, shaking expected, hold on, cover head, get down. like it's like, like an Amber Alert. And then it's like, shaking coming. I don't know where that was. It's a 3.21 somewhere. I didn't feel. Okay. They made more TikToks about her and have even made comments that Lauren wanted to blank her brother. Lauren said that everywhere she goes, they will videotape her and harass her. Lauren advised that it got bad enough that she sent a cease and desist letter to blank. On this date, which was July 23rd, 2025, Lauren arrived at the Koberger trial sentencing. When she arrived, several of these females, including blank, were also present. Due to the small amount of seating, blank attempted to find a seat, and the only seats that were available were close to blank. She asked blank if she could sit near her, at which time blank, who is a friend of blank, told her to stop speaking to her because she already sent her a cease and desist letter. I think that's a very normal thing to say. You didn't get the cease and desist. You see her trying to talk to the person she sent a cease and desist to. You say, don't talk to her. Like, I'd do the exact same thing. Later in the evening, around 2300 hours, 11 p.m., blank was at the Bitter Creek Ale House. At this time, she was having dinner with her new producer, blank, Grayson. While there, they noticed that blank was filming them from outside of the restaurant, and she flipped them off. Blank felt uncomfortable, Lauren felt uncomfortable, so she began filming as well. Oh my God, we're having a filming war now. They were then contacted by blank and blank, who came up from behind them. According to Lauren and Grayson, started yelling at them and was trying to intimidate them. She was speaking with them about many confrontations they've had over the last few months. Eventually, the waiter came over and asked blank and blank to leave. They walked away, I think because they were finishing up and they'd come out of the bathroom, right? So you guys might as well just leave now because you're causing drama in our restaurant. the whole situation, right? They walked away and they went across the street to a restaurant and stayed there for approximately 1 hour. Lauren believed that they were staying there so that they could confront them when they left the restaurant. At that time, she called the police department because she felt uncomfortable and wanted an escort to her vehicle. I spoke with blank and blank. She advised me that blank. I spoke with blank, blank. She advised me that was aware of the situation and that she'd also been filmed at the Koberger trial. She said that blank was filming her and putting a camera close to her face at the trial. Lauren was concerned by this action, but ignored her. Lauren noticed that blank was filming her and blank and Grayson while they were sitting. It's so hard to read with the redacted stuff. Like everybody's just blank while they were sitting at the restaurant. And then they advised blank and spoke with them. She also advised that the females were sitting across the street at a restaurant. She was very concerned and fearful for her safety, which is why both her and Grayson decided to call the police department. When I looked at Lauren, I could see that her face was flushed and she was shaking slightly. She was also darting her eyes around the 8th Street trying to look for this group of women. I was able to contact 3 of the subjects that Lauren spoke to me about. One of them was blank, one was blank, and one was blank. Blank said that Lauren had been talking shit about her husband back in Arizona. She wanted to speak with her about it, so she contacted blank at the Maricopa County Courthouse. She contacted the bailiffs. The bailiffs came and spoke with blank. Okay, so Lauren contacted the bailiffs. The bailiffs came and spoke with that person. She advised that the bailiff took her side and knew that she was not threatening. Blank just wanted to speak with Lauren about her talking badly about her husband. She advised that the bailiffs and her chuckled about the situation. And she was just advised that staying away from Lauren would be best course of action. Blank showed me a video of this interaction, and I did not see anything threatening or intimidating about the contact. All right, let me look at you guys. Where are you? Okay, I will keep going. I always feel like I'm missing out on the chat when I'm reading. Show me a video of the interaction. I didn't see anything threatening. Or intimidating about the contact. Then blank told me that they were at a restaurant before Lauren arrived and that they were eating food. They had been there for approximately 2 hours before Lauren arrived, and she arrived as they were leaving. Blank noticed that Lauren was at the restaurant. However, she did not contact her. She advised that her group did stay in the area, but they had gone across the street to a restaurant to have carrot cake. She said they were not staying there to contact Lauren. I also spoke with blank. She advised that she did speak with Lauren and Grayson at the restaurant, but was only there to speak with them about contacting blank at the courthouse and just wanted to know why they had done it. She was not attempting to be confrontational or intimidating. Once they were asked to leave, she left immediately. She also advised it had been blank who had come up to them many times and had attempted to continue to contact with them. She said it had been back and forth between the subjects and not one-sided at all. I also spoke with blank, and she said that on the date she went with blank at the restaurant to speak with blank was one who was speaking with blank. Once they were asked to leave, the court documents are easier to read than the police report. They went and had dessert across the street. She also reiterated that Lauren has contacted them several times, and that had been back and forth conversation, not one-sided. I did not have contact information for so-and-so, and I was not able to make contact with this other person. Did advise all subjects that I spoke with that this would be put into a report. I also advised them that they should no longer have contact with Lauren. I also advised Lauren and Grayson that they should no longer have contact with these subjects. Lauren advised me that they had videos. I provided them with a community contact to add those videos to acts and evidence. Those videos should be added. I watched some of the videos that Lauren provided me. While I was watching the videos from Arizona and the contacts from Idaho, I did not see anything that was threatening or intimidating. Lauren, however, does feel intimidated due to the fact that she has several contacts with them and seems to be escalating in her opinion. Witness statements filled out by blank and blank. And then it shows like the actual handwriting before it was typed up. Okay. Oh my God. Drama, nothing more, nothing less, and a total waste of time for the officer called. I have seen real victims of stalking and they have heard their story. This is far from it. It's about one woman. Absolutely. And that it's really, really waste of money, time, resources, of law enforcement. Oh my gosh. Okay. That was number 5. It's nice for Lauren that the Boise police have nothing better to do than assist her with her social problem. Right? It seems to be just, it's a college town, right? They probably have a lot of kind of back and forth drama in the bars and the restaurants there with girls and people and stuff from, well, not another one, but these ones are old. These are not the college kids. Oh my God. Okay. All right, let's get to the last one. Yes, Wendy, yes. It is the reason that victims and survivors aren't believed, and it breaks my heart. Well, this is the thing. It's a waste of time, no matter what, right? Because when people take advantage of the system and waste the time, then true people that are getting stalked or whatever sometimes get pushed aside. Not another one. No, Boise police are needed these days. Trust me. It's just such, but it's, right. There's other things that they might be needed for. There might be an actual true stalker on the loose, or somebody that got hit by a car, or I don't know. Okay. Number 6. Let's see. Let me upload it here. You can see the beginning of it. Another one. Your computer. I don't know what this one is. I didn't get to this one. Hey, Velvet Fox. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for being a new sub. Appreciate it very much. Let's see. Holly. And Lauren, wasting resources pisses me off as a taxpayer. Also work on mental health still. So yes, you do. I know that for a fact. Okay. Another one here, okay? Velvet Fox is new, you guys. Say hi. Yes, the boy who cried wolf, right? The girl. The professional reporter that cries wolf. The Hidden True Crime Podcast. Crying wolf. Mommy, she's being mean to me. Turtle Boy cracks me up because he was saying, as he's reviewing the entire 9-hour thing, he's like, she cried at one point about leaving her brother's side when he was dying so she could go to the Daybell trial. And he's like, how could that be more important? All right, okay. And then he got to the part today where she said, I should be by my mom who's on hospice, but I can't because I have to record this right now. And he was like, you left your brother and your mom that were dying because of, okay. But I am a hospice nurse, and clearly her mom's been on hospice for a while, and she's probably not actively transitioning or dying at the moment. So, I mean, she's weaponizing the word hospice here, because I have patients that are been on hospice for years, 3 years. My longest right now that I have has been on for 3 years. I have plenty that are on for over a year or two. And then there's plenty of people that come on and they die real quick because they came on too late. Hospice is good for what it's good for, but if you come on when you're literally actively dying, you don't get the benefits of hospice. And there's a lot of benefits to it. Medicare pays for hospice directly. Hospice is, you get a case manager or nurse who has a direct contact, immediate contact with a doctor, can change your prescriptions, order prescriptions immediately 24/7. You get a home health aide, you get a social worker, you get a spiritual counselor, you get supplies, you get your diapers, you get your hair shampoo, your skin cream, you get all that stuff. Medicare pays for all that. So it's actually a really good program. Hopefully, from what I'm assuming is her mom has some kind of a terminal diagnosis that she's not seeking aggressive care for, but it could be something like Parkinson's. It could be something like cancer, but usually the cancer ones come on pretty late. Because they're fighting it until they can't fight it anymore. But my long ones have things like dementia, Parkinson's. I don't know, there's a lot of things, end stage renal disease goes fast because they're not doing dialysis anymore. Your father refused it. It ended up killing him. That's what's sad. What killed him? Oh, COPD. COPD, yeah. That's another one that you can last a long time on hospice because you still get your meds, you get your inhaler, you get, my COPD patients actually thrive on hospice because we're there and we're monitoring them. Like, your O2 sats are really low today. Are you doing your breathing treatments? Let's change your dosage of this or that. Let's get you sterile. How about some dexamethasone? Why don't we add that? That'll help you with your breathing. So there's a lot of reasons to be on hospice. But people have the stigma. They hear hospice and they're like, oh my God, I'm sentenced to death. We're all sentenced to death. So why not have the support when you actually have a terminal diagnosis? It's actually a really, really good thing. But for me, it's very, very exhausting as a nurse because see this kind of drama. Families have drama like this all the time in their families, especially when somebody's on hospice, like sisters and brothers and oh my God, ex-wives and there's all kinds of drama that goes on. Just don't pass away on a holiday weekend. My father-in-law did, and we had no support. Well, that's horrible. The hospice company I work for, we have 24/7. We have weekend and holiday staff that we're staffed 24/7, but that's awful. I know some smaller hospice companies don't have the full-time support. Do you make content about treating hospice patients? I find that interesting. I haven't. My only thing is I guess I can talk in complete generalities, right? I just don't want to, I don't talk about any specific patients. I could do that, I definitely could do that. So, it's just like, HIPAA laws and everything. I can't give you, scenarios of things that have happened because that could be a HIPAA violation, right? But I can talk in generals, yeah. It's actually a really interesting job, to be honest. I see the most amazing things. Like when people are actively dying, they see their dead relatives. There is just they say, I'm going to go now. They close their eyes and within hours they die. Or they're going on a trip. There's a lot. We could do a thing on it at some point because that's really, really super interesting. It makes me feel better about death. I'll tell you that. Watching people, being there for them when they're dying. It's very interesting. Okay. I'm going to lose my light. I better read this one. Okay, let me take this down so we can read this. And my mother's probably going to... My mom with dementia, the thing is she sleeps too much during the day and then she's up all night walking around entertaining invisible people. And that's why I'm home from work right now these days because I'm not sleeping at night. Okay, so this one, you guys good? Okay. Kathy. All right. Lauren Matthias, petitioner. Christina, respondent. Okay. So this one, petitioner Lauren Matthias, by and through, undersigned counsel, hereby files this verified ex parte motion to enforce civil stalking injunction and for sanctions pursuant to Utah Rule of Civil Procedure 7A, and states as follows. On September 4th, 2025, this court issued a temporary civil stalking injunction against respondent Christina. Gotta make it bigger. Oh, no, can't. That cuts it off. Okay. Case number, bunch of numbers. Okay, which contains specific orders prohibiting stalking behavior. Contact with petition. I've been talking too long now, huh? Prohibiting stalking behavior, contact with petitioner, and specified individuals, and requirements to stay away from petitioner's home, work, and other specified locations. Respondent has willfully and repeatedly violated multiple provisions of the CSI beginning the very same day as she was served, as detailed in the second declaration of Lauren Matthias and supporting exhibits attached hereunto. This matter is urgent, as respondents' violations are escalating in frequency and severity, placing petitioner in immediate danger. Petitioner respectfully requests expedited review and seeks enforcement of the CSI in order holding respondent in contempt of court and appropriate sanctions for respondent's violation. Stop, go lay down. Leave the cat alone. Respondent's violations. The CSI issued the civil stalking injunction orders. The CSI issued by this court on September 4th, 2025, specifically orders respondent to a personal conduct order. No, not stalk the petitioner, including not following, threatening, annoying, harassing the petitioner in a way that would cause a reasonable person to suffer emotional distress or fear for their safety. A no contact order. No contact phone, text, mail, email, or communicate in any way with the petitioner and the following protected persons: John Matthias, Grayson, and the child, Lauren's kid. Immediate and extended family members. So don't be contacting mom on hospice or anything. Business, coworkers, employees of True Crime Podcast docuseries. Stay away from petitioner's current or future home, petitioner's work address, petitioner's vehicle, online forums, and other social media accounts, and the CrimeCon Expo. Additional orders not come within 500 feet of petitioner, her immediate and extended family, coworkers, employees, or place of business. Cease and desist any on all online activity and communications, direct or indirect, relating to or referencing petitioner, her family, coworkers, or professional associates. The CSI clearly states that violation of these orders is a criminal Class A misdemeanor, punishable up to 1 year in jail and a fine, with second or subsequent violations resulting in more severe penalties. Despite being served with the CSI on September 4th, accepted by her husband, who confirmed he would inform her, respondent has engaged in multiple willful violations of the court's orders, as documented in the petitioner's secondary declaration and supporting exhibits. Later, the same, violation of online activity prohibition on September 4th, 2025. Later, the same evening she was served, respondent published posts on both TikTok, blank, and Instagram, blank accounts. And she created to target the petitioner. She posted a video with lyrics, "Whoops, you messed up, ran around, and then you got caught. Whoops, you messed up, now you're crying about what you lost." Responded to a friend's comment about telling the real story with "as you wish." Okay, so there was a there was a comment under that video that said, from one of the other people, that telling the real story. And then she said, Christina responded with "as you wish." You guys, come on. Stalking? Violation of stay away order. CrimeCon Expo, September 5th, 2025. Respondent traveled to and attended CrimeCon Expo, which was specifically prohibited in the CSI. approached CrimeCon security acknowledging she was aware of the CSI but intended to attend anyway. Was observed by law enforcement walking through CrimeCon in close proximity to the petitioner's location. When confronted by officers admitting she knew about the order and that her husband sent it to her, was physically served again and told to leave immediately or face arrest. I don't think it was that dramatic when the police were talking to her, but okay. Additional online violations, September 5th, 2025. After being removed from CrimeCon, posted 2 more videos on TikTok and Instagram. First video mouthed audio stating, "Don't lie on me," with threatening undertones. Second video performed lyrics from Eminem's Worms, including, "I'm gonna make you eat your words," a direct threat. Violation of 500-foot stay-away order, September 5th, evening. Stood just feet away from petitioner in hotel bar area while holding a camera. Hey, you guys, so I hope somebody has that. Oh, I'm sure Queen Bee has that, where Joe Schmo actually says we moved closer and closer. In case this comes up again, I think that's really good evidence for her. She should keep that. Stood just feet away from petitioner in hotel bar area while holding a camera. Only departed after observing petitioner's producer on phone with Aurora police. Photos document respondent within feet of petitioner and producer Grayson. Second violation of stay-away order, September 7th, 2025. Again, came within 500 feet of petitioner in bar area during lunch. Was escorted by security to a restaurant directly behind petitioner. Indirect harassment through third parties. Respondent associate Lori Hellis published YouTube video discussing the CSI and using petitioner's name. Respondent commented on the video, "Thank you, Lori, thank you," with crying emojis. Stalking. Video resulted in threatening emails and comments directed at petitioner. Well, you can't start this shit without expecting some fallback. There's plenty of people online that are going to tell you they think you're doing something really stupid. And they're going to let you know. So some people sent me emails now because of Lori Ellis's post. Okay. Boy. Okay. Demonstrates respondent directing, encouraging others to harass petitioner on her behalf. These repeated and escalating violations have caused petitioner extreme fear for her safety and that of her family, demonstrating respondent's complete disregard for this court's authority and deliberate intent to continue stalking and harassing petitioner despite the active injunction. Under Rule of Civil Code 7A provides the mechanism for enforcing court orders through contempt proceedings. Utah Code states that a violation of civil stalking injunctions, A, constitutes the criminal offense of stalking under Utah Code 765-106. B, may be enforced by civil action initiated by the petitioner. C, may be enforced by criminal action initiated by the prosecuting attorney. This court has inherent authority to enforce its orders through contempt proceedings and to impose appropriate sanctions for violations. Verified motion and supporting evidence. This motion is supported by the second declaration of Lauren Matthias dated September 13th, 2025. B, exhibits 22 through 27 attached to the declaration, including exhibit 22, screenshot of TikTok post whoops video, live video, and exhibit 24 worms video with threatening lyrics to exhibit. Now, those are 3 of the violations. Those 3 videos are the 6 violations, which we know now, those are not considered stalking. Judge said that. So get rid of those 3. They don't count. And then photographs of respondent within feet of petitioner at hotel bar. And we have Joe Schmo, who literally is being a schmo at this point because he said on a live stream last night on Queen Bee that they moved closer and closer and closer. And that he took pictures and Megan Connor took video. Flying monkeys. I need to get the sound bite of the Wicked Witch, Wizard of Oz flying monkeys. My brother used to cry at that part. He was so scared of those flying monkeys. I'm not scared of the ones in this scenario. I just think they're being literally not opening up the brain. Okay. Screenshot of TikTok, whoops, whatever, blah, 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 worms, photographs of respondent within feet, a petitioner at hotel bar, and screenshot of respondent's YouTube comment via exhibit. Threatening communications received after YouTube video from random people that are watching. See what happened? Oh my. Aurora Police Department body cam footage from September 5th, 2025. The court's file and record to this matter. The facts set forth in declaration and exhibits would be admissible in evidence and support a finding that respondent has violated the CSI on multiple occasions within days of being served. Okay, sorry, I'm getting a little more dramatic now at this point because this is like such nonsense. Wherefore, petitioner respectfully requests that this court, 1, issue an order to attend hearing requiring respondent to appear personally before this court to explain why she should not be held in contempt for violating the civil stalking injunction. 2, find respondent in contempt of court for willfully violating the court's orders on at least 6 documented occasions. But one of them is when people send her bad emails from the regular internet world. What? Between September 4th through 10th, 2025, impose maximum sanctions, including a fine of $1,000. You know what? Literally, you guys, like, Christina probably has a lawsuit. She could probably sue for her lawyer fees and stuff because it's so frivolous. Impose maximum sanctions, including a fine of $1,000 for each violation, totaling at least $6,000, confinement in jail for the maximum of 30 days, payment of all petitioners' attorney fees and costs incurred in bringing this motion, payment of petitioners' travel and security costs necessitated by respondent's violation. Does she have a security guard? You know, when Kobe Bryant and his wife had their babies in my hospital, they had their personal security guard stay outside the room the entire time. Okay, they were Kobe Bryant. Convert the temporary CSI to permanent civil stalking injunction for the full 3-year statutory period given respondents' immediate and repeated violations. Modify the CSI to include increased distance requirement of 1,000 feet. Forget the 500. You can't come 1,000. Explicit prohibition on directing third parties to harass petitioner. Prohibition on creating any new social media accounts. Dude. What lawyer is going to agree to write this shit? GPS monitoring. No wonder this one's titled ankle monitor. I was like, why is this titled ankle? She's asking for Christina to have a GPS ankle bracelet monitoring if technology is feasible. Are you freaking kidding me right now? She lives in Utah. You live in Nevada. You want an ankle bracelet on her? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I know I was trying to be super not dramatic about this, but the more I read, the more ridiculous this is getting. Because I hadn't read this one. I was trying to read them all after I was given permission to read the redacted ones, and I didn't get to this one before we started. So, ankle. Holy frick. Lauren, give it up, girl. I think you should go back to newscasting or something. I don't know. Okay. Ankle monitoring, GPS monitoring, immediate refer for criminal prosecution, misdemeanor stalking with recommendation for enhanced penalties due to multiple violations. Issue a bench warrant if respondent fails to appear at the hearing. Grant such and other further relief as the court deems just and proper to protect petitioner from continued stalking and harassment. Signed Monday, September 17th. And the certificate of service. Holy cow, man. Okay. All right. Let me see what you guys got to say. Yeah. GPS. Right? Are you kidding me right now? They don't want her back at mainstream newscasting. Out of the question. Well, not at this point, for sure. Weaponizing the court to silence people is despicable. Absolutely despicable. You're right. Completely despicable. Okay, Holly, what'd you send me? Oh, this is, you said I had these yesterday. Okay, this is just the statements that Gigi from Pretty Lies made some statements. She said, I posted on this thread, but let me copy and paste for you again. There's much more, but I don't air dirty laundry. All the drama aside from the current topic of discussion was known to a lot of us in spring. We all moved on, but I guess this has caused the past to rise back up, which I am totally over after months of being thrown in this at no fault of my own. This was in response to someone saying they hope I wasn't shunning Lauren. Shunning, no. But I did remove what little contact I had with her outside of being at trial after being shown proof of what absolutely awful things she said about me over the course of years and what she did to try and affect my podcast and negatively, absolutely. It's called removing myself from drama and moving on with what matters to me. These in order? Yeah, they're kind of out of order. Okay. What absolutely awful things she said about me over the course of years and what she did to try to affect my podcast negatively. Absolutely. It's called removing myself from the drama and moving on with what matters to me in my life, my grandmother, my kids, my work. And in fact, even after I knew about all this way back in May, I still walked up to her at Brandon's trial on day one and asked how she was and said, it's good to see you. When she sent me an apology email, I replied back in a positive way. I do not wish anybody, that must be part of what she was crying about, like, I even apologized, to some people because I don't know what I did. I do not wish anybody any harm, but me choosing to be the adult and prevent any further drama in my life is fair. There are two sides to every story, and I could have gone public in May with mine. But in spite of everything that was done against me behind my back without my knowledge, all while thinking what little connection we had at trials was good. I don't want to be the reason for anyone's downfall. This isn't my problem, but when people are made aware of things said and done against them and choose to quietly walk away instead of airing it out in a public forum, that is not shunning. Perfect. That was from Gigi. Pretty Lies and Alibis. One with some integrity. Clearly a woman with integrity. I can tell you, she did not want any of us that were following the Daybell case to outdo her with any interviews, any information, anything up front, nothing. When Sherry Dwaddle reached out to me and told me that she had a recording of Melanie Gibb, I probably still have this message. It was in Facebook Messenger. She said, I have a recording with Melanie Gibb. And Melanie Gibb, we've all heard this, right? Blah, 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 blah. She went on and she explained it to me. And I said, Sherry, she wanted to give it to me or something. I don't know. But I said, I think you should probably don't give it to me or any podcast or anything right now. I think you should send it to the police. I think that would be the best thing to do. And that was that. Next thing I knew, Lauren was reading it on her show. So I was trying to be appropriate with what legally might happen and that this sounded like it was some serious part of some evidence. And I was not going to read it first, And there's been things like that. Over the years, like I started I think they had a podcast, but I started my YouTube channel right at the same. And then I got the Daybell stuff first, and I did get a lot of stuff from people, talk to people that were involved in one way or another, kind of somebody that was a witness's mom, the zombie email that Melanie's friends took, talked to them on the phone, got the whole scoop of that. And got that, and then, Reddit got credit because it was posted on Reddit later. So there's never been any kind of good blood between us, and I never knew why. I really didn't. But I just think it's the competition, I cannot grow a channel like that. I'm not competing with anybody. I can't. I have to work. I still want to keep my nurse job. I can't sit here. I can't spend all day traveling to court trials, and I'd have to take PTO vacation. And I just can't. I can do what I can do, but I've never been a threat to anybody, believe me. But maybe that was part of it, why she never was approachable. I don't know. But now seeing this and what she did to Lori Hellis. Again, I believe Lori Hellis now, especially after hearing Gigi say this and other people. And a lot of people have just kept quiet because you're right. We don't want that. I don't want to call drama on my channel. And again, we're here on these true crime channels. Although this is not true crime. This is true crama or whatever. But what's it called? Crama? See, instead of drama, crime drama, creator drama. Is that what does that crama mean? Is it about crime drama or is it creator drama? Crama. I don't know. Yes, Lori's very, very, very. So anyway, that was the extent of all I could say, but it's like, I don't know. But this is crazy. And I'm sure that there are more documents. I know they are redacting them. And I'm sure I can get more and more into it. I know there's other statements that haven't been redacted yet. And so we'll keep going with that. And thank you guys, all the new subs here. I appreciate it. And I am so happy to be able to spend some time on my channel right now while I'm not working. It's kind of just a nice little break from working as a nurse. Let's see, crama, thank you. I need to know the definition. Crama, fake true crime creators that attack each other every day and call it true crime. Thank you, Oz. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, now Chad's making his letters to Chad. I still haven't decided if I want to even go over those. I could. Good to see you. Following you for a while now. Glad you're back. Thank you. I'll try to keep going even when I get back to work. Although I might be off for a while more than I think because my knee, as I haven't met with the orthopedist yet, but it has severe degenerative joint disease on my knee. And my hip has mild, so we'll just try to keep the hip in shape. But the left knee is bad. In fact, when I was walking around Italy, when was I there? August? I was dying. My knee kept hurting so bad when I was in Greece and Italy. So I guess I'll have to get a new knee. So I might be off for a while. Well, who knows? That works. I can sit here and, have a new knee and heal, right? Okay, Lori's channel starts at 8 tonight. Okay, cool. Everyone go. Lori Hellis. Yes, please. Let's do that. You were the channel I watched for the Daybell coverage. Thank you, Connie, my flippin' life. I remember. You've been here a long time. Long time friend. All right, I'm just going to scroll back a little bit on comments. Did I miss anything? Does anybody have anything super duper they want on the screen? I don't want her back at mainstream newscasting, now the question. What's that? Is that the cat or is that you? The cat opens doors, so I don't know if it's my mother or the cat. All right. Yeah, too bad she withdrew. I really would have liked to let the court handle this since she caused all the trauma. I would like to see what the judge had to say in the end. Although, Judy Ryan did ask her if she's going to file again. And she said, to be determined, but I might do it federally. And Lori Hellis flat out told me, she made a comment when I said something. Somebody said that. I was like, Lori Hellis, there's no federal, there's no such thing. Okay. And then I don't like them with their paywall laughing about this. That's despicable to me. That one was absolutely despicable. to sit there and be like, oh yeah, you'll have to pay for a higher tier if you want to see the text messages. Oh, I thought we were so scared of the text messages. I know they're kidding and they don't want the text messages out, but it's a very inappropriate comment. Way inappropriate. You see him, he's being crazy. Everybody's crazy right now because they're like, Mommy, get his attention. Percy's right here being crazy. Kitty cat running around. What do you want? Here, come here. Come say hi. Oh, he's so big. That's This is Percy. He is my pug that somebody in the neighborhood didn't want anymore. So I took him. They brought him to see how it would work out, and they left me the crate and the dog, and that was the end of it. So, Lori's channel is called Chasing Justice. Does anybody have the link? Any of my mods have Lori's channel link? Percy, do you want Mommy to be done? Are you over this? You ate dinner. Hi, Peace Through Strength. Thank you for being a new sub. Thank you so much. They're little. Your face makes a lot of noises. Okay, go see Lulu. Okay. Hair all over me. The one bad thing about pugs is they shed so much. So much. I know somebody my son works with, they found a pug and they're looking for the owner for a month now. And my son's like, do you want another pug? And I'm like, no, don't do it. I don't, because I'm going to say yes. Thank you. There you go. Chasing Justice. That's Lori Hellis's channel. Oh, cute. Mini. You got a mini Dachshund. Oh, that smells so cute. Oh, okay. We got him. Now we got. Thank you guys both. Appreciate it. All right, I better go because I definitely have to go to the bathroom again. I have to eat dinner. I got to go get my mom some food. She's probably hungry. It's 6 o'clock. It's about right time right now. And then Lori Hellis starts right now. Okay, so it's 6 o'clock my time. Okay, well, I got my earbuds. I'll just turn her on and listen to her as well. All right, all you wonderful loyal Loos. I call you guys loyal Loos because I do appreciate, look how many people have stuck around all these years, even when I disappear for a long time because I don't have time to make content. I do appreciate you all, and I really want you to stay safe and stay well. I do have another channel that I started. It's going to be about different things when I get that up and rolling enough. I have put some content over there. It's called Chatting with Kathy, where it's not everything going to be about crime because we need a break from all I deal with at work is death and dying and crime. To have it all about crime and not about other things it's just, sometimes got to lighten the thing. Hey, Kresha. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I have not been given that information. Apparently, though, these text messages are 5-6 years old that she's concerned about. This Kresha is in the chat, you guys, and Kresha is Kay Woodcock's daughter, and she has her channel called Difficult Research, and she has been following my channel, and I follow hers for a really long time. So give Kresha some love. Yeah, Kresha, I don't know. If I find out, I will definitely contact you. Investigate. We will investigate. I've been given things slowly, but I don't know who has what as far as these text messages go. All I know is the only reason we even know about these text messages is because Lauren was talking about them. I have not heard anything about them from other people. Anyway, all right, I gotta go. I gotta go take care of my mom. I'll see you guys very soon. Please stay safe and stay well, and I'll be back soon.